Welcome to the Cherry Picker, the horror movie podcast where we like to kill people, but not really. I'm your host, Zach Cherry. With me, as always, is.
I totally blanked. Anyway, Patty of Edward is true. There's too many lines in this movie. And the pressure was on. All of a sudden, I was ready to say my line. And I'm just like, ah! So I just dove in. Anyway, I'll do more the whole
You'll
episode.
dove in.
I'll dove in the whole
Dove in.
episode.
Yeah. And I mean, in case you didn't realize it, we are talking about Death Becomes Her, released July 31st, 1992. We're coming up at, what is this, the 33rd
Eh?
anniversary? Yeah.
I can't
If my
math.
math
Yeah,
is correct, yeah.
I think you're right.
33rd, yeah. And this is our Patreon choice episode. So this was nominated by Daniel Saturn, and based on 52 votes, it received 19%.
Woo!
So thank you very much for everyone's participation, and Daniel
Yeah.
for the suggestion. And here we've got another 1992 movie. And I mean, I guess like cards on the table, like this is, I mean, this is a cult classic, but every time we watch something from 1992, I'm like, is this the best year of cinema? Because okay, all right, look, we got and because we've covered most of these, but we've got Candyman,
hmm
we've got Batman Returns, the best
hmm
Batman movie. I don't care what anyone says. Uh, we've got Single White Female, Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Raising Cain.
hmm That was
Yeah.
there was one of those add yours things that was in my Instagram feed for a while, and I remember it was going year by year, starting with like I think 89 was the first one I saw. I thought, oh, that's fun, I'll jump on that. And I said something I don't remember what. Then 90, and I was like, oh, I'll do that. And I said something I don't remember what, and I did 91, and it was
Mhm.
like I think it was between two films, and I was like, either one of these, but I can't choose, so you're just gonna have to see both of them. And then I got to
Yeah.
this year, to 1992, and I put like nine movies and said, "There's no
It's
way."
there's so many good, like if you go on Letterboxd, you can search the movies by year and like
Yeah,
like you can structure it by like popularity. So I've got
right,
Aladdin, like the
right.
Disney
hmm
musical. I mean, they're all musicals. Uh Dracula. We've
Bram
got
Stoker's, yeah.
yeah, I mean they're all Bram Stokers. What's the
I mean, not the one where he's called Count Orlok in Nosferatu, but okay.
That's fair. Reservoir Dogs, not really my favorite
No, that's an
Tarantino.
amazing movie. Yeah.
Home Alone 2.
No,
Not really my thing, but like
no.
Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. I
Oh,
like the
okay, yeah,
series, I just wasn't
yeah.
crazy about the movie.
hmm
My Cousin Vinny, Basic
mm
Instinct, Army of Darkness,
mm.
A Few Good Men, Wayne's World, Last of the Mohicans, like just like Sister Act.
Ooh, that's
This is
fun. Wasn't Adam's Family Values that year too?
I think that was 93.
93? Okay, then that's another one that jacked me
Yeah.
up. Yeah. I was
Um,
just, it was too hard.
The Bodyguard.
Oh my God, legendary.
Yeah. Unforgiven.
Oh,
Did you ever see?
that was Clint Eastwood's. Yeah, my dad liked that
Yeah.
one. The sad cowboy one
Yeah.
with Clint Eastwood.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
The OG
The Christy Swanson. Yeah, yeah.
with
And
Paul Rubens.
the
Yeah.
Mighty Ducks.
Oh God, yeah, that's my sister's. Yeah, totally.
This was a year. It's the
hmm
year. Like that's just there's so much good stuff coming out.
hmm
And even if it's not good, just memorable. Anyway, yeah. So Death Becomes Her.
Not good,
Which
but memorable.
no, I mean it's
Okay.
I'm just trying to segue back into
Okay. So,
the
yes.
topic at hand. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you saw this movie?
So the first time I don't, but I remember the marketing for it. Like I remember the
Oh, yeah.
advertisements as it were,
hmm
because this was the same time like Candyman. We talked about that because I was Candyman scared the crap out of me when that was out. So I just remember all the ads for that, and they would, like I'm sure they still do, but they'd have like those television shows and they would just show extended clips from the movies. So I remember seeing one of Death Becomes Her. And I remember because I was staying at my aunt's house, and we were watching TV, like all of my cousins and stuff, and this clip was playing, and I guess she was confused, and she's like, "Oh my God, I want to watch this movie," and so she's like got all like prepared to sit down, and she's like, "Oh, it was just a clip," and I'm like, "Of course, it's in the theaters still," but. But yeah, I remember first seeing it there because like the imagery that always stood out to me was the hole in Goldie
Mm-hmm.
Hawn's stomach and like the candelabra being held through
Sticking
it.
through it in the poster
Yeah.
art, yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
And Meryl Streep's head backwards and everything like that.
Twisted around. Yeah.
And they were wearing, I remember noticing, because I didn't see it in the theaters. I saw it when it was streaming on, I think, Showtime at the time, but some cable network. And I just remember thinking when we got to the flashback, it's not a flashback, it's like a speculative
Hmm.
universe where they might be when they're carrying out Helen's plan to murder Madeline. And
Yeah.
the whole
Well, it's a
time, Goldie
flash
Hawn's wearing
forward.
that. Yeah, but is it? Because it never happens. But
Yeah.
so she's wearing but she's wearing a white dress the entire time, and Meryl's wearing a red dress the entire time, and those are the outfits that they were wearing in the poster art. And I was like, oh, okay, that's an interesting choice. Put them in dresses they never actually wear in their realm of consciousness. But
Hmm.
and it seemed like. Because the way it looked, I was like, oh, so Goldie Hawn's stomach is going to be like, she's going to have a hole in her stomach for like the whole movie. And then I saw the movie, I'm like, oh, it's one scene. And then he takes care of it. But
Yeah.
no, I remember it caught my eye. This was around an interesting time for both of them because I remember somewhere around this time, I don't remember if it was before or after, Goldie Hawn did House Sitter with Steve Martin, this rom-com. And it was really
Hmm.
good. And I was not all about rom-coms then. You had to be like, step up your game, and I really
Yeah.
liked them together. And then Meryl had just, I feel like before this, she'd done She Devil with Roseanne Barr when she was still Roseanne Barr. And
Yeah.
I think we brought up Linda Hunt last week. She was in She Devil too, or the week before, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were both in these kind of like wacky places where they were making comedies, and then they ended up together in this thing. So I thought, oh, I love both of them. Let me see. Because Meryl Streep was in her bitch era, and Goldie Hawn was just kind of in her, I don't know, I'm still Goldie Hawn era. And
Yeah.
and I was a huge fan of, actually knew Goldie better because I had seen her in Overboard prior to this and
Hmm.
thought, I love you, whatever the fuck. And then I saw her in a few other things, but I think this and She Devil might have been my first exposure to Meryl Streep doing anything. And so I just thought that's who she was. I just thought she was kind of like a bitch with command, who I can
Hmm.
who I can respect. And then I got a little older and I started seeing her in all of these soft-spoken, really emotionally,
Hmm.
vulnerable. Like it's not like she's not vulnerable in this movie. We'll get to it, but
Range. Yeah.
range. But I didn't
She's a
know.
range.
And to everybody, she was like, multiple Oscar winner Meryl Streep, and I just thought like, oh, that bitch from She Devil, I love her. But seeing them in this movie, something hooked me. I was, still a closeted youth, and I just every time it was on, I'd watch it, and I did tape it on like a little VHS tape that I ran over and over and over again. And to this day, I think I have, except for when prompted at the top of a podcast, I have the entire, almost the entire movie memorized.
Mm.
So I remember being at my friend Rohan's birthday party, and he knew all of Madeline's lines. So we just played out the scene for his birthday. My present to him was being lethal and just selling him the potion. And the party stopped. Everyone just watched us play out from
Oh.
from I hoped you'd come all the way to take care of yourself. You and your body are going to be together a long time. Be good to it. Siempre viva. Live forever. And then we were done. That's a long time to stop a
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
but I
mean, well,
love
as
this.
long as they liked it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just were tired of talking, so sometimes it's easier to let somebody else do it, and I'm
Yeah.
notorious for that. Just pass it to
Well,
me. I'll take it
next
for a
time
while.
you do it, we can do it in the voices of Chucky and Glenn.
Oh, Glenn.
Glenn
It's like,
Glenda.
I hope you'd come. Make some room for my friend, for God's sake. Keep your ass handy. Glenda has so little exposure in this. She only has a few lines, but it's all kind of anyway.
Yeah.
Say something.
And Chucky would be like, now a warning, Just like Madeline Ashton energy is just Chucky energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a bitch with command.
Yeah.
Sure. I would love to see Chucky play Madeline. I'd love to see him play Helen too, because you know me, I love him being vulnerable because it's so un-Chucky. But
yeah, I know. It's we always want to gravitate
my boyfriends to hurt me on purpose. You know?
Or just like imagine him in the at the beginning of the movie when he's like in his dressing room and just trying to like get the surprise right. And like, all right, let her in, you know?
Yeah, right. Just like, how does she look?
It's like, it reminds me of that Ab Fab episode where Eddie's friend, or
Patsy?
Eddie, no, the one, not Patsy, but like the one who's like was her friend in high school, and it was like they had this rivalry sort of thing, and she was always like, you know, really pretty and stuff, so she was like coming over and
Penny Casper Moore.
Yeah, just like how does she look? Like is she fat? And they're like, no, like I forget what, like you're just running through the list.
Okay, I can do it right now.
She's blind.
Yes. Like, she's like, oh, hurrah!
So,
yes, I remember.
Yeah, so
she comes down the stairs, she's like, Eddie, I've got a surprise for you. She's like, what? She's fat? No. She's dead? No. She's blind? Oh, hurrah! And they're all cheering because she won't see how quote unquote fat Adina is.
Yeah. And it's just like, I am thin and gorgeous. And she just like puts her hands on her waist. She's like, thin?
Yeah, right. It's like, it's braille for the body.
Yeah.
It was the most avoidable thing in the world. But so of course, Adina does it. Absolutely fabulous for anyone who doesn't know that's following.
Yeah.
It should be standard.
Yeah. But that episode, very similar themes to this movie.
I'm wondering, because this is another thing about like, we won't dive in, but we won't dove in just yet. But I will say, I get a lot of classic Hollywood from this movie, just in terms of like maybe I won't call them tropes because it sounds like an indictment of the movie, but just the things that they use that feel familiar. There were a lot of movies that came to mind, particularly in the screening while I was watching it. I was just kind of like, oh, that's why I love it so much. It's got so many different flavors that appeal, that seem to kind of derive from mid-20th century women's flicks, and that's all I'll say right now.
Yeah, it has like a very like 1940s aesthetic in certain things, and like the architecture of a lot of places as well. Throughout the movie, and even the like the title, like the font of Death Becomes Her is just like a very, you know, it's like something you would see in like a Betty Davis movie.
Yeah, very.
Oh my
kind
God.
Of like
Betty Davis and Joan Crawford.
Oh my God. I would say, well, obviously. I mean, I think, well, this is the thing. I could see it going either way, honestly, because like Betty could turn out the glamour when she wanted to, and Joan loved being sympathetic with her audiences, but I think Madeline would have spoken to Joan. You know what I mean? And I think Betty would have found a way to make Helen triumphant even in her smaller moments. You know, like, but I honestly, what about you? Do you have a preference?
No, I think that's the right choice. I mean, even if Joan wouldn't have wanted to portray the bitch, as it were. And
well,
then,
as long as she gets some sympathy later.
Yeah, and then Ernest could be like Errol Flynn or someone.
Betty would call up Errol, and as a favor to her, he could do the film. I think the best era for them to do it might have been around the All About Eve era too, like
Yeah.
around the same time Joan was doing Damn Don't Cry, so they could straddle looking it'd be really easy to still make them look younger and glamorous, but they could also like kind of look older without feeling like they're playing older. Yeah, that would I would have loved that crossover, maybe 49 or 50, cast them in the OG Death Becomes Her on satin, you know?
Yeah.
I can see the title.
Yeah.
What are people saying?
I'm just looking at the chat. Yeah, there's like mentions of the substance happening.
Yeah, uh-huh.
So I guess like yeah, I mean there I can see some similarities for sure. I mean, this is in my opinion a much better movie.
I knew you would say
Yeah.
that. No, I mean, I think things are maybe spelled out a little bit more clearly here. All the questions that I have about this movie are things that didn't occur to me until after like the first 20 times I saw it. And then I started
Yeah.
wondering things about like, well, how did Liesel get a hold of this? If she's 71, like that means that like she was born like in the early 1900s. So
Yeah.
how did she get a hold of this? And like, and how did she obviously made a success out of it for her, but it made me wonder about her story without ever wanting a prequel movie made of it. But
Yeah.
and the other thing I think was just like questions about Helen. How did she find out about it? Because she was an author, but that's our authors really, and she was even worse. She was like an attempted author. She said in the
Hmm.
beginning she was still trying. So I'm like, well then, how did she get into that circle? Like if it's such a select group as
Hmm. Maybe she
as
met someone
Chagall
in
says.
she met someone in rehab
Maybe.
or yeah.
Yeah, some glamour puss in rehab. See,
Hmm.
that would have been interesting. I don't need it, but there's things that occurred to me, like I said, after 20 viewings of this movie, I didn't walk away going, "Wait a minute." They didn't, whereas with the substance, as we illustrated in that discussion, there's still some questions I have.
Yeah.
But I
I
also
mean,
embrace the vagueness of that movie. I like the
there's
mystery.
also the fact that this movie was, I guess, like there's an alternate version, or there was a lot of reshoots that were done. There was like storylines that were scrapped. Like there's a whole history of just
Yeah.
even if like the trailer,
Yes.
there's a whole thing with Tracy Ullman.
Right.
Yeah, her character is just like completely written
Yeah.
out of the movie altogether. But like still scenes were filmed and they exist in the trailer. But it's
Yeah,
like
and the original ending too, which we can get
yeah,
to later, but that they
yeah,
actually, I do believe, shot, because to hear Goldie Hawn describe it, it sounds like something that actually happened, because she has visual references that she makes.
yeah. And well, she prefers the original ending too. I
Yeah,
think she
she
was like
does in
quite
a big way.
upset. Yeah. Um, I was gonna say the timeline of the movie, I guess it takes place over 51 years. Like it starts in 1978 and it ends in 2029. So
Right.
technically, we're not there yet. We haven't
Yeah.
reached the end. We've got another 4 years. So I could just imagine, like they are out there somewhere, still hobbling around, doing each
The
other's makeup poorly.
yes, the walking undead of Beverly
Yeah, yeah.
Hills.
Where's that? Like Bravo, like put that show out there.
Oh yeah, women are going to be lined up to play, not even to play, to do that reality show. Oh my
Yeah.
God. But I still, the thing is, like, I don't watch it often because it is so up here. But when I do, I mean, I watch for this screening just to get it fresh in my head again and write down a few things that might occur to me that never occurred to me before, and a few things did. But
Mhm.
there were so many lines I was just scream laughing in my own home alone, like there was nothing to prove to anyone. I was just having a good
Yeah.
time. So yeah, it scratches an itch for me definitely, and looking forward to seeing the musical version soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's on
Well,
Broadway right now, and the two actresses who played Madeline and Helen, Megan Hilty and Jennifer Samard, were both nominated for Best Leading Actress in a Musical Tony Awards this year. So it's
wild.
yeah,
Yeah.
knocking it out of the park and selling out every week. So. That's
Well,
good.
let's do some quick housekeeping
Woohoo!
here and get into anything. So, if you are new to the Cherry Picker, if you've been watching for a while, you can support us by heading over to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/ZackCherry, ZackCherry. And at the Freddy Krueger tier, it's $5 a month. You will get access to all of these live stream recordings. As you can see, if you are watching on YouTube, we've got the chat hot right now in the middle of the
Hmm.
screen.
Yeah.
And with that as well, you'll be able to nominate a movie of your choosing every month, and it will then be voted upon by Patreon members. So, as we already mentioned at the top of the episode, this was a Patreon's choice episode. So if there's something that we haven't talked about yet, and you really want us to talk about because we haven't thought about it, I know that Sorority Row for the longest time was one that was
Yeah.
people were really like, when are you going to cover it? When are you going to cover it? And I
Thank you guys. I love
we
that movie.
we yeah, but we that wasn't a Patreon's choice. We just did that of our own volition. But like,
Yeah.
if there is a Sorority Row type movie out there and you want us to talk about it, head over to Patreon, subscribe at the Freddy Krueger's here, join us for these live streams. You can interact and engage with us while we do the podcast, and then give us our assignment for the end of the month every month. So with that, I do want to thank a few Patreon supporters. So to the Michael Myers tier, thank you to Kyle Beard, Ali Hamouche, Shane Allingham, Tim McKay, Stephanie Starbright, Horror Slut 95, Traj 125, Michael Boswell, and Ghost Faces. Thank you, Eric Champney, Sam Levy, Daniel Saturn, who nominated this episode, Baby Ghoul, Garrison Nichols, and Craig Lynn.
Woohoo!
Thank you very much. Do you have a premise?
Yeah, give me a minute here.
Yeah, thank you.
Amethyst says Tracy Ullman's character Tony is Ernest's only friend and helps save him from Madeline and Helen at the end. Oh, love that woman. Anyway, okay, here. Should there be a particular voice? I was thinking maybe Liesel, but it's hard to do her not doing her lines.
Can you can you do a Meryl?
Oh my God. I mean, that's another. Okay, but before we dive in, hold on. Because this is the thing I have to say, it was in my notes. Just
Mhm.
Meryl's voice, I mean, speaking voice in this movie goes through so many different iterations, not just to indicate the age that she's at, but even to just indicate, like, I think about the levels she finds when she navigates through that clap back at Ernest before at the top of the stairs,
Yeah.
because it starts off very just kind of like what you would expect from Madeline, just like, what did you say? And then, who do you think you are? You are nothing. You are nothing. You are a drunken, boozy, flaccid clown. Flaccid, flaccid. And she does all that. Then goes into like soap opera. Oh, yes, you will. You'll take anything I have to give. You always have. You're not even a man, and I need a man. A real man, not a drunken, broken down, flaccid undertaker. And then immediately turns into like a stand-up comedian going like, who is just as dead below the waist as his clients are. You know, I might have more fun with one of your clients. At least then I know I'd be getting something stiff in there. And then he starts choking her, and she goes immediately into like meek little baby. No, please. I mean, she's Meryl Streep for a goddamn reason, but so which voice? There's the Helen Sharp's book party. Forever young. Right, forever young and eternally fat. I mean, she's everything. She is literally everything in this movie. So, which Madeline Ashton do you want? Now, a warning.
We also got Amethyst writing, "Ow! What are you,
You're
nuts?"
nuts. Yeah. She's so fucking good in this movie. Oh my God. And she does something similar in She Double. I feel like she really doubles down in this movie, but like there are moments where she's just pitching a fit and uses it as just an opportunity to show off all of her vocal training, you know? but but it's never like bereft of dimension. It's always coming from a fascinating place. So anyway, I don't know which Madeline to be, so maybe not. I could be French, like the fake French girl, because she's another one of my favorites. When she comes in, like, "Hello, Mrs. Ashton, how are you? So good to see you." She's like, "I'm sorry, but the plasma separation is a very traumatic process to the body."
That that actress, I I forget her name, but she's in a few things that I love. First of all,
Oh
Melrose
yeah.
Place. She had
Oh
a
okay.
yeah, she had a reoccurring role in the first season, so like the bad season of Melrose Place. So
Right.
when everyone was boring and got along, she was she was like this bad girl who was like Jake's equal and would like whisk him away to like do things like it's like, oh, you got a new job at a coffee shop? Well, come with
Right.
me because we're gonna make art with our nude bodies
Oh,
and paint.
that's right.
And
Yeah.
and then she was also in oh my gosh, what is it? What's the name of it? A Woman Scorned, the Meredith
Oh, Baxter
Baxter. Yeah,
Burney.
it was like
Yeah.
the name of the woman. There's like the real life case. Betty Broderick, and yeah, it was Meredith Baxter. And I'm sure everyone has seen these clips on Instagram of just like Meredith Baxter on the phone with her son and just being like, where's his whore or whatever. Like, but she is the whore. She's the other woman. Um,
Is it Michelle Johnson? Is that her
yes,
name?
yes, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of her and she looks like in the photo she has, she looks almost
yeah.
exactly the same. But yeah, no, I
And
love, oh my God. Yes, go ahead, sorry.
oh no, I just like saw her pop up, and I'm like, oh my God, it's her.
Yeah, no, I did that a
Yeah.
lot with this movie. We'll get there,
Mhm.
but okay, but with
Yeah.
her, even just like so it's been almost that long, anyway. She's like, "Oh, Miss Ashton, you had one 3 weeks ago. I could do your makeup myself. Makeup is pointless. It does nothing anymore. I mean, are you listening to me? Do you even hear? Do you even care? You stand there with your 22-year-old skin and your tits like rocks and laugh at me." And then she drops the French thing and just goes, "Oh, Mr. Chagall, I'm sorry, Mr. Chagall, I'm really, really sorry." Anyway, okay, I think I'll be French.
Okay. Very
Let me
good.
try. Wait, so good to see you. Okay, 14 years after actress Madeleine Ashton steals her frenemy Ellen Sharp's fiancé, Ernest Menville, Helen undergoes a miraculous shift in appearance, prompting a desperate Madeleine to imbibe an elixir that grants eternal life and youth. But when a murder plot devised by Ellen is thwarted by Ernest pushing Madeleine down a staircase instead, everyone is shocked to observe the effects of the potion and whether death becomes hell. Huh?
You were delivering the French, and it slipped into this dialect of like Eric Cartman when he's like does, when he's doing like Spanish.
Here you guys, I'm going home. I could do your makeup myself.
But that as like when he's doing in a Spanish accent.
Oh, when he's doing
I
it in a
made it
Spanish
just for
accent, okay.
you.
I made it just like you. Yeah, I probably, whatever. None of these impressions are ever consistent. You
No,
know that.
no, no, no. They're all over the place. Where can this be found?
It's sadly not streaming on any subscription platform at the moment, but you
Oh, wait
can.
a sec. That's not true.
Where is it?
Well, I watched it on Prime. Maybe that's just in
Real?
Canada. Canada? I don't know.
Oh, maybe
Yeah,
because I didn't have a link to it. Like they usually link it to everything in IMDb.
yeah,
I saw a separate rental thing, but I don't know. Maybe somebody try it if you
yeah,
want.
yeah.
Or individual rental. Like, okay, this is the thing. It's also available on a 4K Scream Factory release that I did order when I knew we were going to be covering this movie, but it hasn't arrived yet. So
What?
yeah, so I will watch it and I will get it
Who did you
eventually.
order
I'm
it from?
from the site directly.
Oh,
Yeah. So anyway,
okay.
it'll get here. I ordered it because also there was a 30% off of the 4K for Paranorman, so I got both of them bundled, and I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But they won't be here until next week. So anyway, but I don't
Is
mind
there
throwing. What?
Does it not have like any special features of like the deleted footage? Because I'm just looking at Amethyst. He's just saying, how about we get a home release with all the deleted footage? Robert
This is the thing. I
Zemeckis
don't know
did.
how much is actually available because the I've never seen the footage for the original ending. I've only ever heard Goldie discuss it. And like you said, like with the deleted scenes, I think there's one scene. I'm trying to remember what it said. Here, hold on. I'm going to Blu-ray.com. I'm getting it right now with the review. But all of that I've only ever seen in the context of the promos for the movie, not in, in an actual release. Looks like, yeah, there's an O-card slipcover in the special features here. The Making of Death Becomes Her 2503, which is a crossover from the original Shout Factory Blu-ray release, vintage behind the scenes featurette, and a photo gallery and a theatrical trailer. So no, not even a commentary, and we still have both actresses
Oh
with us. I think that's
wow.
a crime. And Bruce Willis. Oh, we'll talk. Oh, there's so much to cover. But
Apparently, Amethyst is saying none of the deleted scenes have ever been released, just the bits we see in the trailer.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there you go. So still nothing.
Hmm.
Maybe now that it's having like a renaissance. I mean, it did because of the substance, because people kept bringing it up, saying kind of like it got there first.
Yeah.
And I understand like the similarities between the two of them, but I also think they're really saying because I mean, there used to be a term that they would use to describe a movie like this. Goldie Hawn used it herself, and it was black comedy. And essentially, what a black comedy is something that's rooted in darkness, kind of like in the bowels of humanity, like the things that nobody wants to talk about or look at. And you build a comedy around it so people feel less threatened, but equally as confronted by it, even though they may not realize they're being confronted, if that makes sense. It's not
Hmm.
it's not holding a gun to your head and staring down the barrel of it, telling you, you're gonna think about this, but it's saying, you felt this way before, haven't you? And you're like, yeah, I guess I have. And when even, I think I saw it when I was 13 for the first time, and I remember even as a 13-year-old boy, it was keying into something with me. Oh, which brings me to like the whole classic Hollywood of it all. The first movie it made me think about this time wasn't a movie from the past. It was actually uh, 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 What Lies Beneath, because I was just thinking like it's kind of like a contemporary take on a classic Hollywood movie, which we addressed when we discussed that movie. It was like,
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, Michelle Pfeiffer was Joan Crawford in her own movie. Like that's her Mildred Pierce, basically,
Yeah. It's a
in a
woman's
way.
picture,
Exactly, a
as they
woman's
say.
picture.
Yeah. A
But
picture of a woman.
and and then I was stunned because I had forgotten Robert Zemeckis directed this movie. He also directed What Lies Beneath. So I feel like
Oh.
the other movies that it evoked memories of, like the All About Eves, the Mildred Pierces, the Women, the Sunset Boulevard, and even arguably moments of Baby Jane, just in terms of like pitting two women against each other, who you mean all this time we could have been friends? They have that moment much earlier in this movie, and they do reforge their friendship and then slowly destroy it
Yeah.
based
Uh,
off all their previous,
Robert
decisions.
Robert Zemeckis also produced, I mean, he's like, I guess was part of the Dark Castle production company. So
Mm,
House on Haunted Hill, 13
hmm.
Ghosts,
Yeah.
Ghost Ship, Gothica, House of Wax. I mean, I don't know if they're, I guess he's not attached to it anymore because I don't see Orphan on here. But he also
Mm.
produced Tales from the Crypt Presents Demon Knight, which is
Hmm.
another fun movie. We should cover that sometime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that one in ages, but
Oh, I watched it recently. It's really good.
oh good. Okay,
Yeah, it really
fun. I'm
it
glad to hear
holds
it
up
holds
well.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
But also he collaborated in the past with Alan Silvestri. They both did Back to the Future together, where Robert Zemeckis directed and Alan Silvestri did that iconic score. But
Yeah.
and I
Apparently
still
there's
yeah.
a correlation to Back to the Future, like the date of it's like October 26th.
Oh,
I forget where it is here, but that was like the Back to the Future date.
like where it all starts. Because he
Yeah.
goes back to no, I know in 1955 it goes back to November 5th, but in 85, I wonder. Oh, I didn't even notice that. But so I don't
Yeah.
have the physical media to share or anything
The
like that, but I
date
do.
Amethyst is saying the date Helen takes the potion is the release date.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And I still have my audio cassette that I'm showing here
Oh, very nice.
of the score that Alan Silvestri put together. I bought this. What? How many years ago did you say it was? 33. So I probably bought this like 30
Yeah.
years ago, and I still
Wow.
have it, and I
Yeah.
listened to it often.
I had
And yeah.
the cassette tape for the Batman Forever soundtrack.
Oh yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people had that one.
Yeah.
My
Do you
sister
remember
had the
that?
CD. I was always borrowing it. Yeah.
Oh no, I
With
didn't have the I had the tape and I
okay.
used the shit out of that. Like the
Yeah.
the seal song.
Yeah, yeah. Kiss from a
Yeah.
Rose. I love
Yeah.
that song still. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. And I have no idea what he's saying in it, but it's just one of those songs that's just really pretty.
It's just the vagaries of love.
Yeah.
But there's speaking of like the vagaries of love though, like there's something while I was watching this, like here I thought like, yeah, Helen's obviously like I guess the more sympathetic of the two characters and plays that way. And again, talking about like vocal intonation, I feel like even Goldie attempts that because there's this real sweet femininity that she kind of lends to the character's voice when, especially when she's being at her most vulnerable, just like even in moments where she's in there, just like telling him not to fail at the Madeline Ashton test. She's like, I couldn't take it again. I don't know what I'd do. And later, when she's just talking to Madeline about just like they were all I had, and you took them away from me. Even when she's being forceful, not because you loved them, not because you cared, but just to hurt me. You hurt me on purpose. And I'm just like, it's funny because we watch Meryl play with the rainbow of emotions from Madeline's voice throughout the entire movie. But the most vulnerable I think we see her is moments after what I was just describing, after the shovel fight and everything like that, when Helen knocks her head down into her body. Very
Yeah.
cartoonish, very Looney
Was
Tunes, you
it
know?
like into her body or is it just back?
No, because she knocked it back once, and that's when she does the
Yeah.
damn, I just fixed this.
Oh, right,
And
when
then
she
pulls it
like pulls it
forward.
up and then
Yeah, when she pulls it
drops
up
it. Yeah.
out of her body, like
Yeah.
her little eyes are peeking like she's Wile E. Coyote or something. And and that's when they get in each other's faces, talk about what's really bothering them, about how old these wounds are between the two of them, because Madeline's trigger phrase is cheap, apparently. And that's when
Mhm.
she screams it back at her, like, you thought I was cheap, and how come you never invited me to one of those parties at your parents' house? And this is the movie for me in a nutshell, is that it's the high melodrama of, you know, the fight that feels very real for these women, but it's also comical. And then finally it stops when Madeline confronts Helen with her finger in her face and says, no, you look me in the eye and you admit you thought I was cheap. And then Helen walks over, very kind of musing over this, sits down with the hole in her stomach and the the shovel handle that has been what's the word I'm looking for?
Wedged into
Yeah,
the
like tossed into javelined, yes,
yeah.
javelined into the sofa. She sits down, it pokes right through her stomach for the laugh, and she even says it in a funny way. She says, "Okay, I thought you were cheap," and this is enough for Madeline to cross to her because they're rich. She sits in the couch opposite the sofa that Helen's sitting on, and she's holding her head up. She goes, "Well, I hurt you on purpose." And you see this melt Helen in a close-up on Goldie Hawn's face. And then we cut back to Madeline, and she's like doing that thing where, you know, you clutch your chest, or not even clutch, but you just
Clutch her
pre-
pearls.
yeah, clutch your
Hmm.
pearls, press your hand to your chest because you're, you know, fighting back like little sobs. And she just says, I hurt you on purpose, and I'm really sorry. You know, and it's like, and she's like, I'm sorry too. And it's the most sincere thing in the world, where I remember even the first time I saw this movie thinking like, oh my God, I forgive her via Helen, you know. I would be moved by that too, and I don't judge Helen for forgiving her, because isn't it just easier at the end of the day, after you've got all this drama between you and this other person, to the point where you've literally, one's been plotting to kill the other one, and the other one goes through with it and does it. And it's like, look where we are. You know what?
Yeah.
We really don't need to be like this. And they both would rather, you know, link arms and
Yeah.
laugh about the old times together. And that's what the movie in a nutshell for me. What are people
Joe
saying?
is saying the cartoonish body transformations remind him of another campy 90 movie, The Mask. Uh,
Ooh,
Grant says Beetlejuice is one as well.
yeah.
The this actually won the Academy Award
Oh, yeah.
for Best Visual Effects of that year.
Yeah.
It beat out some of those other great movies that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, which is kind of funny
Um,
when you look at it now, because it's
yeah.
so obviously,
It is, and apparently,
composite
like,
shots and
so this, and Craig was actually telling me this earlier, is that this is the only time in Meryl Streep's career that she worked with visual effects, because I guess she had a really bad time doing, like, it was just like a lot of stressful work to do it, because she
well,
had to,
yeah.
there's a lot of like green or blue screen. She had to
Yes.
like film the same thing over and over again, like with her body turned this way,
Yeah.
and then that, and of course like that being superimposed onto the head. So I think it was just, she's like, enough of this. There's two things that Meryl doesn't do, and that is visual effects and sequels. But she did do Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, and she is going to be in Devil Wears Prada too. So I guess
Yeah.
maybe there is hope for more visual effects in the future for her.
I mean, she sank into the ground in Into the Woods, so there's a little taste of something from
Yeah.
like 10 years
Well,
ago.
she probably didn't
But
have to do anything. They
yeah, I
just
think she
took it.
just stood there and put her arms up, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas with this one, I can understand because she was sitting in like a swivel chair, like kind of like what I am right now, and she had to do a lot of that neck thing. You see in the making of behind the scenes footage and stuff like that, you can always, and I remember even seeing it on Showtime at the time, I think when the movie was still in theaters, they would sometimes advertise movies in the theaters on cable for whatever
Mhm.
reason, just to get like, you like watching movies. Look what's in your Cineplex down the street.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing her really, truly throwing her neck back a lot of the time. And I'm like, oh, I couldn't do that. I think I'm roughly the same age now that she was when she did that. So it's like, no, like keep a masseur on the set and just get my vertebrates all back into alignment
Hmm.
because it
Oh, it's so
looks
gross when you see
painful.
them like in that movement where it's pushed back and you're just popping out there.
Oh God. And
Yeah.
yeah, oh God, could talk about the bone protrusion and everything with like Sidney Pollack, another one who I love, director of Tootsie and dad of Eric McCormick on Will and Grace. And he had worked with Meryl before on Out of Africa. So they were comrades in playing the doctor who tells her
Mhm.
she's dead, basically,
Yeah.
and does a really good job at it. I think because it's
And
you
then
have
he
to be
dies.
funny and then he dies.
Yeah.
That's another thing, though. I was watching that sequence and I just kind of thought, there's always, I don't know. Oh, I'll use this word. I don't know because I don't know if it's gore. It's not gore, but there's always kind of the macabre just waiting around the
Mm.
corner in this movie, which is maybe another reason why it feels kind of quasi horror adjacent. Because I thought about the first thing that happens where something gruesome is shown for comedy in this movie for
Yeah.
me is when we see Ernest at work as a surgeon back in 1978 and he's working on some woman's eyelid and out of
Mhm.
frame he's like, oh, would you look at all this bleeding? And then he just hears like a tap 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 on the window, so he looks up and there's Madeline who just met him and who knows she wants to steal him away, and she's got like I think a bottle of champagne and two glasses. She's
And
like,
flowers,
hi, yeah, and
yeah.
flowers, like, hi. And he
Yeah.
lifts his hand from out of frame and it's just a latex glove covered in blood
Yeah.
with a meek little wave.
Yeah.
And it made me think about other moments throughout the movie where it's just kind of showing us the gruesomeness of our mortality, of our, this
Yeah.
this meat puppet that we all
Well,
carcass that we drag around on Earth.
I think that it's fair. I mean, like we are discussing this. I mean, it was voted upon by 19% of the votes for
Hmm.
to receive the honor of being the episode we talk about. So it definitely is horror adjacent. I think, we
Yeah.
when we talked about, Jawbreaker and oh my gosh, what's it? Wild Things.
Yeah.
It's just like these, we consider these horror adjacent because there's an element of crime, there's an element of murder to it. So I
Drop
think
Dead
that
Gorgeous.
Drop Dead Gorgeous, absolutely. So it's like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. So yeah, it's just like
Mm.
it fits nicely into. I mean, Scream Factory has released it under their Scream Factory label,
Yes.
or I should say Shout Factory has released it under their Scream Factory label. So it's
Yes.
definitely within the genre, and it's a cult film, which I think also lends itself to horror. So absolutely, like you look at this, there is very gruesome imagery. Especially with the the coming out of the rising up. Well, and either of them, like when she comes up out of the fountain and
Oh,
just like the water coming up and just like the
right.
almost like zombified looking face, and then you just
Yeah.
see Madeline when she's sort of like reanimated or like gets up in the background and walks over.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of creepy, gross stuff in here. I think it belongs in horror.
And they're always presented like in a non-gruesome, like they're not trying to turn our stomachs or scare us, but they are kind of like unflinching looks again in a way. And there's even things in the background. I thought about after it's right before Ernest actually sees that Sidney Pollack's the doctor is being, he's got the paddles to his chest and everything like that. He runs into the emergency room area looking for
Mhm.
a doctor to help Madeline and get a second opinion. And he sees a man just sitting there. He looked like he was in like maybe I don't know, like running gear or something. I don't know. I don't know sports, but he he looked fit, but he had these like bloody knees that were like dripping blood all the way down his shins, and he just kind of goes, and just kind of like winces and runs away. Or even when the French, I think her name's Anna, the French employee over in Chagall's is like greeting Madeline Ashton and taking her through this room, through this room, through this room. You see this person who's basically zombified, like hooked up to this kind of Frankenstein-like hamster wheel contraption where they have numerous tubes
Mhm.
injected into their body, just kind of like doing God knows what, I guess rejuvenating them or something. And you just hear kind of like a while
Yeah.
so there's already this undead motif and this
Yeah.
fragility, of the human body like being introduced, throughout this movie.
Yeah.
That
There's
yeah.
a lot of corpses that are shown throughout. Uh, Brianna is saying that just to bring up a Chucky correlation,
Oh.
that love that Meryl is also from New Jersey, like me and Chucky. I
From
can do like
Newark, for
I can
God's
see
sakes.
like even like in Bride of Chucky where they're in the RV and just like fighting, and he's just like, and another thing, where the hell did you learn to bake? Like, just just see like Meryl just yelling at Bruce Willis, just like, and another thing.
Right. Madeline
You're
Ashton is, for all intents and purposes, the Chucky of the
what's
movie.
what's the line that's just like goes into the whole flaccid
Oh, okay.
bit?
Well,
Yeah.
because it starts off with him like, oh, because she's walking by him. She's all dressed up to go out to like see Adam Stork, her lover,
Yeah.
Dakota, and she and she's oh my God, walks out, tells him to have another drink and go to bed. And he tells him, "You're not going to take my money." She's like, "What are you talking about?" And then calls her cheap. That's what makes her stop because she tells him,
Mm.
"Why don't you have another drink and go to bed? Don't wait up." And then he says, "Cheap." She says, "What did you say?" He says, "I called you cheap, Madeline, because that's what I think of you. A cheap, and he tells her a cheap, taste, and I'm listening to her usually, so I'm not as
Yeah.
dialed into his dial, but something like cheap, tasteless woman
So
who every
that
day
yeah.
becomes less like the woman that I do. She's like, who do you think you're talking to? You are nothing. You are nothing. You're some cheap, boozy, flaccid clown." Yeah, all that line.
But then
So
that would be Tiffany who's like, who the hell do you think you're talking to? You boozy, flaccid.
it'll just be like, who every day, watch what you say, Chucky. Watch what you say. I don't have to take this anymore.
We just need to like
Oh yeah.
recast, just recast Chucky and Tiffany and
Put Chucky and
everything.
Tiffany in everything, 100%.
Anything, yeah.
Did you think I was just gonna take it forever, Chucky? Huh?
Um,
Cheap,
she was
vicious, loathsome bitch.
Was she going? So she was going back to her
I
lover.
think she was going elsewhere. I think she gave up on Dakota and had somebody
Yeah.
else in her back
Well,
pocket because Helen says flaunting her lovers all over
yeah.
town. So,
The Actually, one of my favorite lines is when she's outside of his house and he's got the other girl in there,
oh yeah.
and she's like, "Do you have someone else in there?" And he's like, coming up with like just trying to think of
Oh
something. She's
no,
like, "Oh my God,
she's a friend of the guy who
would
was
you
here to.
lie quicker?"
Yeah, would you at least lie quickly? He's like, I am trying to. But even that, like, okay, again, like he tells her it's completely innocent, and he says it as sincerely as he can, and then she sees the girl's
Yeah.
completely naked, and then you feel it just like break her a little bit, and she
Yeah.
starts to make her way up the stairs, and there's
She
this
wasn't going
horrible.
back to him. Yeah.
No, and there's a horrible smirk on his face, almost just kind of like, well, I mean, what can I say? I mean, And then oh my God, talk about Haddonfield. He all of a sudden turns into like this East Coast guy because from the beginning he's just like, nothing. I didn't know you were coming over. Just give me a moment. She's just in the back. Or I just have to. No, of course I'm completely alone. But then he goes, oh, I'm sick of this shit. I'm doing you a favor here. Just do me a favor. I gave you. Yeah, I gave. Big deal. All of a sudden he's like, I don't know, Stanley Kowalski or something. But I love that he just tells her to find someone her own age, and immediate thunderclap rain just pouring down on her.
Well, that's like the opening shot of the film, with just like
Oh,
all that
the rain.
yeah.
Yeah, it's coming down over, I think
And
it was
even
yeah.
the skyline, like it does have a very 1940s. Like it was actually reminding me of like Tim Burton Batman, and then
Oh
like
yeah.
coming into the theater.
Yeah.
Also, the cinematography in this is just like
Oh.
very, very eye-catching. Like there's so many shots that are like the two that stood out to me. There's one. It's when she comes home. I
Mm.
think it's when she comes home, like after she's taken the potion, and there's this whole thing where she walks by and he's like in the other room, and she's going up the stairs, and then he walks out, and the camera kind of like
Yeah.
pans across and up to the stairs, and you
Yeah.
like see her up there at that point. And then the other one is when her maid comes,
Oh,
like when
Rose.
she wakes up, and we're seeing it all through the mirror, and then it kind of like pulls back a little bit
Yes.
throughout the scene.
Yeah, actually, oh my God, you pointed out one more. That was another thing I noticed about. I think Robert Zemeckis adores, or certainly adored for this film,
Hmm.
using mirrors in his frame because there's that one. It didn't even register. It felt so natural to me. But yeah, the size of the bed. Joan Crawford would definitely sleep in that bedroom.
Oh yeah, it's Joan Ashton,
Yeah, it's
and
totally
yeah.
Joan Ashton. And
What's Helen's last name?
Helen is Sharp. Helen Sharp.
Betty
Yeah.
Sharp.
I was just going to say Sinclair because that was another diva from the 90s. Helen Sinclair was the role Diane Wiest played in Bullets Over Broadway with Jennifer Tilly. Full circle. Anyway, but Rose, the maid, is played by Nancy Fish. You don't really get a close-up of her, so I don't think anybody would be recognizing her if they weren't looking for her. But she's the
Yeah.
nurse who I love from Exorcist 3. The one who has the scenes with George C. Scott where he's interviewing her and he's full on says like, thank you for you're very cooperative and very nice. She goes, I'm a bitch.
She was also in Dr. Giggles.
Oh, that's
I think
right.
she was like the neighbor
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, she deserves so much better than that movie. But anyway, at least she's in two of my favorites from the 90s, this and Exorcist 3. But she's really, really good in this. She doesn't really get to take the stage. She actually disappears from the movie after a while, but
Yeah, I was missing her because I was getting like a vibe of what's her face from
Thelma Ritter from All About Eve.
well, I mean, but also I was thinking of like Mommy Dearest, like her
Oh, Carol Ann. Yeah.
yeah.
There's
Wait,
always
is Carol Ann was who was the reporter?
the
Barbara. Yeah.
Barbara,
Barbara,
please.
please.
Yes. But Carol Ann.
Stay away from the light.
Got it. No, wrong Carol Ann.
I know. It just may as well have been the same.
But I
Is
just remember
Mommy? Because we did Mommy Dearest. Is
Yeah.
that horror adjacent? Do you think? What
I
is there
said
any
it was
is
because
there
it's
any murder?
No, there's no murder, but it's definitely, I said it was gateway horror for children because I remember
Yeah.
when I was a kid, it's the kid's nightmare of like the mother from hell or parent from hell if we don't want to
Yeah.
engender it, you know. But yeah, because I remember I would watch it every time it was on TV and I was fascinated and because it was one scenario after another. And as a kid, you're just kind of like, what would I do, you know,
Yeah.
if I were in that situation? And that's what horror, that's what really good horror does, is it puts
Yeah.
you in the scene. But anyway, I love. Okay, so Rose in the mirror when she comes in after. There's this great like again like there's all these things that come through in high def that weren't really present for me in my SD VHS. And we know at like
Mm,
13, but like
yeah.
just really getting to hear crisply like Rose's huffs and puffs as she's carrying the tray up all those stairs. She's just going. And then she gets to the top and she wakes her up and you hear like the low snoring of Madeline and when she wakes up and she's just kind of like, good morning, madam. You look absolutely fabulous. She's like, wait a minute. In her deep morning voice, I'm older now, Madeline.
Yeah.
Aren't you forgetting something? And she's like, well, it's only 30. He's told us not to say. She's like, no, I think you need you to say it every morning. And then she says it because she's prompted. Oh, madam, you look younger every day. Thank you, Rose. Thank you. Anyway,
She's
but
kind
yeah.
of a she's Madeline's kind of like a Disney villain. She's literally like the evil queen, just like
She totally is.
I need the magic mirror to validate me.
100%. I have someone who works for me. Why can't I hire her to say things that make me feel pretty?
Yeah.
But it's and again, I don't think it's entirely inaccessible. I don't know if anybody can relate to this, and I tease my mother about it to this day. But my mom was around the same age at this time, and I remember she used to do this thing where she'd like have something that I wanted, like a snack or a ruler or something, and I'd ask her if she could you get me that ruler, and she'd just get it, pull it out of where the drawer or whatever, and just stand there holding it, and I'd be like, "Can I have it?" And she'd just be like, "Pretty mom," and be like. Pretty mom, skinny mom. And I'd be like, skinny mom, just give me the ruler. She does not do that anymore and has not done it for years, but I love reminding her, you used to like keep things for me. You used to, and bait me into like paying you any kind of compliment, calling you skinny and pretty and
Yeah.
young. And, so I guess maybe that's another reason why Madeline speaks
Yeah.
to me. Maybe she's really my mother.
It's also maybe I'm misremembering, but it wasn't that sort of like Jennifer Tilly, like playing Jennifer Tilly in Seed of Chucky with
Oh
her
yeah.
assistant. There's like
Oh yeah.
which is also interesting because same spiral staircase in the
Hmm.
house.
100%.
Maybe that's Seed of Chucky was channeling a little bit of Death Becomes Her.
I think so. Well, I mean, because they
Yeah.
both, this is the thing, they knew to appeal. I mean, I know Don Mancini definitely invoked the name of Joan Crawford in his commentary for Seed of Chucky when he was
Hmm.
discussing the life that he wanted his Jennifer Tilly of the movie to lead and everything like that. And I feel like
Hmm.
that's a great deal of like what we're being thrown. Even the fact that
Yeah.
like the way their hair is done, it's not the way every woman's hair looked in the 90s. It really does kind of like harken back to a more classic time where women's hair was coiffed and where they're both, women wear gowns in this movie, like who was wearing gowns in the 90s if
But
you
like
weren't trying to,
everywhere. Well, she does have her tracksuit, the
yeah,
little
her,
turquoise
her little turquoise thing.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's just to make her body just look equal parts, just kind of like unappealing and appealing. That's another thing I appreciate
Hmm.
practically the things that they do just to kind of like affect the
Hmm.
de-aging or the aging process. Like there's that one point where Isabella Rossellini, who we need to talk about more, is sitting there in her, in her sales pitch, just going like, so young, so full of life. It already ebbs away from you. And she takes Madeline's hand and it's positioned in such a way that it almost looks, let me see, I'm trying to get it in the frame, where it almost looks like a claw. Here, maybe this way is better, where like the
Hmm.
fingers are kind of like draped over Isabella Rossellini's hand, and she's just kind of like, ugh. And then later, when she checks it out to like really see it, it's just fully positioned in a way that just, all those wrinkles disappear from your
Yeah.
knuckles and whatnot.
The
And you
hand
can tell they're painted, of
acting.
course. They're
Yeah.
painted too. Yeah, they've
Yeah.
got, she had little liver spots painted on and everything like that. I think the
Yeah.
attention to detail throughout, though, is kind of impeccable. There's a lot of moments where I'm just kind of astonished that even because the murder plan, that whole sequence where they're wearing the dresses that they wear on the poster,
Yeah.
happens in the movie. It happens after we've already seen Madeline transform and become a girl, but they had the
Hmm.
mindfulness to know, well, Helen and Ernest don't know that she's a girl.
Yeah.
So she's going to look more like the 1992 Madeline in
Yeah.
those scenes. So she looks great, but she's got, the lovely kind of creases, the whatever, I forget
Yeah.
what it's called, but they put little things around the corners of your mouth and around your crow's feet to
The-
accentuate your wrinkles
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So much detail,
Yeah,
so
I
much
was looking
detail in
at
this
that. I'm
movie.
like, oh yeah, because it's this imagined scenario.
Yeah, in
Um,
Helen's
let's
imagination.
let's talk about the, I guess, like the tragedy, as it were, for Madeline. It's just like she gets this gift,
Yeah.
which she has to pay for, and
Yes.
literally like within an hour of getting home, it's just like, and you're fucked, and you're fucked. I mean, at least Helen got like 7 years out of it.
Yeah.
But Madeline, and it was just because of her cruelty. I mean, I think she could have just walked away from Ernest and they would have
Well,
been fine. And then and
I think
and then
Ernest could have too. Ernest had a
yeah.
plan. How many people, when you're getting bawled out by your oppressor, have a
Hmm.
plan in place where you're like, you know what, I'll get you. I'll get you later. We have a plan to kill you.
Yeah.
And you can just go to bed peacefully knowing. But I was actually scared of Ernest for the first time ever in this screening, just thinking, he's just that guy at the top of the stairs who's drinking and making accusations and then chokes you when you're just kind of doing what you've always done. This fight doesn't feel new, except maybe from his end. Maybe he's crossed a line, but I feel like she's just doing what Madeline does. So I don't know, that scared the shit out of me.
Hmm.
But yeah. So I don't know. I feel like she could have walked away 100%, but so could he. So I don't know. That's where my
Hmm.
mind went in this
Yeah.
particular screening. But
Uh,
because I mean, he killed her. He, he full on choked her, and she's sitting there.
well, she had the moment, like the neck, like, well, like bending sideways
You're right.
on the yeah.
Oh, and the whole thing about just like even that tumble like
Yeah.
looks rough, and when you pan to the dummy from like
Hmm.
one toe to the other, oh my God, you think about just speculating as to like what must have happened to her body, because even though you're watching it, you can't really read exactly what's happening except for the neck break, which happens instantly.
Yeah.
But once she reaches the bottom, oh, I laughed out loud for the first time at this moment too, because he comes down, he's just kind of beholding, oh my God, like what happened? Oh boy. And then his recurring line throughout the movie. But then he picks up, after all that, he picks up her wrist to take her pulse while she's twisted in every direction, couldn't possibly be alive. She's not breathing, she's not talking, but he takes her pulse, and that's when he goes, oh
Yeah.
boy. I don't know why that was
Yeah.
hilarious to me, this particular screening.
Amethyst is saying it's so bad, but I watched Madeline falling down the stairs today and laughed at how long and campy the fall down the stairs is. There's also the teetering at the edge for it, like what seems like 10 seconds, where she's just like Ernest, like
Yes,
help me,
I
and
know.
yeah, and then like boop,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, because I mean, this is the thing. How scared could she have been if, like, right at the last minute, she's like, hurry up, you wimp. Out of the
yeah,
side of her mouth. She is pleading. She's, help me. And, and everything. And then it's just kind of like, I mean, of course she was scared, but if you have, if you have the bandwidth, the emotional bandwidth to insult the person
hmm,
who stands between you and death, maybe she was asking for it. I don't know.
yeah. I
Like,
think
I
it's just
wouldn't
that
do it.
she's, yeah, I think that she's just so used to like abusing him for all these years and like having no pushback at all. So it's just like it was just another day at the office for
Yeah.
her. So I mean, probably best because she would have gone out into the world and she would have just been a horrible monster that looked good. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
and I think.
also, sorry, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, I feel like just like with the rules as they were
Yeah.
of just like, like after 10 years you're gonna disappear or fake your death or whatever. I don't
Right.
think that she would have. I think that she would have found a loophole or just like would have like continued on and she would have blown the whole thing wide open.
She could have waited
Yeah.
maybe another 10 years and then gone out and everybody could have been like, "Have you seen her? She reminds me of that actress. What's her name?" But thinking she looks like Madeline Ashton. She's got definitely got something and maybe she could dye her hair or something. But
Yeah.
you brought up the rules and that was another thing that occurred to me, I think for the first time ever, because she's very Liesel
Hmm.
dictates the rules to Madeline very clearly by telling her like you may continue your career for 10 years of perfect unchanged beauty, but she tells her she has to like retire or stage her own phony death or just say I want to be alone just like Garbo, but she but when she's talking to Ernest and she's giving him the sales pitch later in her beautiful iconic white, and I believe it is iconic, her iconic white kind of robe dress, that obviously had to be positioned perfectly so her tits don't just fall out of it or whatever. But
Hmm.
she had to sit in it and walk in it, and I'm just like, oh, honey, good for you. But she says to him when she's telling him to drink the potion, I wondered if you made anything of this. She says, "Drink, and you'll be able to work again forever." And I'm like, wait, are you selling really hard, just like the devil on his shoulder, trying to really motivate him to take this potion because it would be an honor to you, because you love the work that he does. So for him to take the potion is like, it's like Michelangelo getting like, a thumbs up from Da Vinci. But um, I don't know. I couldn't tell what was going on because if he were going to work again forever, is the reason because he's not in the public eye? Or is she lying just to try and convince him to do it? Because he wouldn't. He'd have to work for 10 years and then disappear,
Yeah.
according to her rules.
Oh, I mean, my interpretation of that was always that they were tricking him into doing it because they wanted to essentially like hold him as prisoner so he would do their paint makeup for
So
them.
Liesel was only doing it, she was like a mouthpiece for Helen and for Madeline there. Huh.
I don't really understand her motivations,
Me
but
neither.
yeah,
Because I mean,
it's
it's good. It's good for her because then she doesn't have to take care of them if he's taking
yeah.
care of them. So there's
I
that.
mean, there could be that, but then that also like harkens back to what you're saying. Like, how did Helen stumble upon this? Because she wasn't really a celebrity.
She wasn't an
Uh,
A-lister, yeah.
yeah, like, but there's a thing like, because at the onset of like the finding out about the elixir,
Right.
she says that the price is different for everyone,
Right,
and
right, that's true.
it's just like like I guess like depending on like your station in life, some people would pay more or less.
Yeah.
So I mean, like we never see what that number is. It's just like she
No.
writes it on the thing, and
Yeah,
it's
it burns
like,
it.
oh yeah, it's just like okay, I'm out of here.
And Madeline asks her, "How much did you pay?" She goes,
Yeah,
"Everything I had, and that was cheap," because we know she's not wealthy.
yeah. Well, she
I was
was. I
like,
mean, she was at that point like she didn't have anything. She was evicted from her apartment. She had all
I
the cats, and
know. Yeah, she was.
yeah.
You know what? It makes sense that she might have found somebody like in her little facility that she was staying in there.
Hmm.
But oh, that's another thing I love about seeing Goldie Hawn in this movie, if we can sing her praises for a minute.
Yeah.
Just from the onset, I remember my mom kind of watching over my shoulder when I was 13 and her seeing Goldie Hawn sitting in the Broadway theater with Ernest as it pans from Madeline's musical number to them.
Hmm.
And my mom knew that Goldie Hawn was in this movie and she just asked me, after like doing a double take, "Is that Goldie Hawn?" And I'm
Hmm.
like, "Yeah." Like it's Goldie Hawn, it looks like her.
Hmm.
But to my mom, she was virtually unrecognizable because my mom had never seen her stripped of like, like no makeup, no blonde hair, no big smile, and everything
Yeah.
like that. And I was just kind of like, "Oh no, of course that's Goldie Hawn." She's like, "Wow, she looks different." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, sure."
It,
But her
it's like it.
mousiness.
Yeah. It's wild to think that like Goldie Hawn has only been in 8 movies since this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
two of them
mean,
are those Kurt Russell Santa Claus things, which I still haven't seen. I like to think canonically they're spin-offs of the thing. They're just up at the I guess well, they're in the North Pole now, but.
I know Goldie, Bob Zemeckis, came to her and offered her the role of Helen. She read the script and she said, "You know, I do sing and dance. No one's ever asked me to sing and dance. This is the perfect time. I could play Madeline." And
Hmm.
he said, "No." And she said, "Why?" And he said, "Because I want you in that role and I want Meryl Streep in the other role. I want you
Hmm.
both to play something you've never played before." And I feel like Helen is more along those lines for you. I feel like people are going to be more shocked seeing you in that role than they would as Madeline. Which I guess is, I think it came after. I don't remember, but because I guess she kind of got to play her self-absorbed actress after this in First Wives Club, and
Hmm.
um, and Meryl's played everything, so whatever. But
Yeah.
but there's something about the two of them. There's this wonderful thing that happens where they can meet each other, I feel like, on any level that any scene needs them to. And I feel like that's a rare thing too. That's something, maybe that's part of the reason why The Substance, gets compared to this movie again, is because you've got like two actresses who are just turning in these performances and just
Hmm.
whenever they're at each other, whenever they, whatever these complex feelings that they have for each other, even though, we had the argument, is Elizabeth Sparkle,
Hmm.
two different people, or is she one, like whatever,
Hmm.
but just two different entities, in
Yeah.
conflict with one another that can inflict pain on each other in like some really cartoonish ways.
Yeah.
And there's something about that, uh, where I understand the comparison, but there's also a thing that I think Substance actually did that works better for me than this movie. One thing, and it has to do with the introduction of, in The Substance, it's the substance, and in this, it's the potion. It's just because of the actor. It always bothered me, and I finally did the research because I like the way he plays it. The guy who plays Chagall, the one who gives the
Yeah.
card to Madeline. His name's Ian Ogilvy. He's done tons of things. He's older than Bruce Willis, Meryl Streep, and Goldie Hawn. And
Combined.
combined. No, but like, because Bruce Willis, I did the research. Bruce Willis was born in 1955. Meryl was born in 49. Goldie was born in 45. And Ian, Mr. Chagall, was born in 1943. So they hire this man who's older than all of their principal actors to play kind of like the temptation, the thing of like, because obviously he's taken the potion too.
Yeah.
It's talking about the select group and all of this, and he has the ability to open the door and close it to people who he thinks might be able to be good for Liesel, or whatever, or who might be prime candidates. I think about the equivalent of the nurse in The Substance, and I think, well, he's perfect because he looks like somebody who bought into the whole hierarchy of The Substance. And of course, a guy who's like dangling the carrot for our leading lady would look like that. It would be, essentially kind of like perfect, almost with like a glossy sheen on him, like too perfect, magazine cover
Yeah.
perfect. And I just kind of thought like this guy, while he played the role of Chagall really, really well, um, and there's something that he did that I appreciated in his pitch. Like he kept having trouble with his eye. And I remember my sister and I, we both love this movie and we used to talk about, do you think he's having problems too? Like he's been around a long time and his eye just won't work because he keeps like
Yeah.
playing with it and it keeps bothering him in that first scene only. And I'm wondering if it was just a bad day for Chagall, But
Hmm.
in the close-ups, you look at him and he's got as many creases in his face as Meryl Streep does, and Meryl Streep is supposed to be like this kind of like gnarled up, or in her eyes, this gnarled up like, you know, aging actress. And I don't know, I just kind of thought, wouldn't it have been better to find someone with a sense of humor and a sense of, dramatics about him, uh, to play that role, who was like about half that age, to just kind of like be like, you'll look like me, or at least to have it in our heads. Someone who takes the potion is going to look relatively young and gorgeous. Not that he's
Yeah.
unattractive, but he does not look young.
Yeah.
Did that ever occur to you?
My understanding of it is just based on like what Liesel tells Madeline is that the potion stops the aging process in its tracks. Like it stops it, but then it also like uh kind of
Forces it
like
into
it
retreat is the next line.
yeah,
Yeah.
forces it into retreat. so it would like suggest that it like you would get younger, or at least like who knows at what point it would stop. Like, is there like a
Yeah.
baseline age? Are we going to be doing like
38.
a Benj? Is it? But is there going to be like a Benjamin Button situation
Right.
here where it's you're just gonna like morph into like a baby and then like absolutely nothing.
Right.
A glimmer in your father's eye will be like the last stage.
I think it
Um,
forces it into retreat and then cuts off at like a nice round
yeah.
number, probably
Well,
like
there's
30 or something. I don't know.
I mean, I think we see like James Dean at one
Yeah,
point. I don't How old was he? Was he part of the 27 club?
that I don't know, but maybe. I
Yeah.
don't, anybody
Well,
in the
it just
comments?
but the yeah, I mean, it, I mean, this is just to me seems like part of the movie that wasn't really developed all that much.
Right.
And I mean, I never really had those questions. That wasn't what I was
Hmm.
looking for. I didn't need the understanding of that. But I mean, if I was to conjecture about that one character in particular, maybe something happened that he didn't take care of his body like the way that he was
Mm.
supposed to, and now he's got this twitchy thing going on. Maybe there's a whole backstory
Maybe,
or side story that exists in
yeah.
this like alternate cut of the movie.
Like maybe he diluted it to try and make more of it, but by diluting it, you only get so young. You don't get to like 20s or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't look out in the mirror and go, "I'm a girl," afterwards. But
Yeah.
no, because it was purely an aesthetic thing. It never went deeper than that. It was just like from an aesthetic standpoint, like he could look younger. He could look a little bit more like a
Yeah.
poster boy for the
James
potion.
James Dean died when he was 24.
Okay.
Amethyst is saying in the script of the original ending, when Ernest and Tony, which is the Tracy Ullman character,
Yeah.
when they're together in their 70s, they say that Ernest's one hand is of a man of 25. So I guess that's the target age they were looking for. Because I guess like
Okay.
he got the potion on the hand,
Yeah. She put it
and
in his left hand.
it just
Yeah.
kept his hand young, but not like
Yeah.
his whole body.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, Madeline could have walked out of there and not taken it, and her hand would have been. Yeah, she could have had a really prosperous career as a hand model.
Yeah, they could have been
Uh,
like, Whatever you're doing to your left hand, why don't you do it to your right?" But
mhm.
she would have fielded that question for the rest of her life, and
Yeah,
that's eternity.
there was
Um,
there was a comment about. Okay, yeah, Brianna. Is it insinuated that the potion can also make someone thin as well as young, or did Helen, lose the weight after she took the potion?
I always, in my 13-year-old stupor, and I've never moved from this, I always assumed that the weight was taken away by the potion, that it
Yeah.
wasn't just about aging, but it was about like kind of like an idealized form that you take, and
It,
not my idealized form, but
yeah.
like a
Too bad.
standard.
Too
Yeah.
bad we never saw that, like, the scene of Helen taking it.
Helen transforming.
Um,
Yeah.
and apparently that sorry, I forget who said it in the comments, but part of the original script or at one point was that she takes it afterwards. So it's like
Amethyst said that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So Madeline takes it first, and then later on in the movie, Helen does, like chronologically in time.
Yeah, and Eric
So
pointed out that it actually is funnier seeing Madeline's reaction to Helen take it first. I agree with that.
yeah.
I also, and I also think the motive. I kind of like the idea of Helen getting to it first and it becoming this weird, mysterious thing where I don't know. It's more interesting watching Madeline be motivated to try and keep up with Helen for a change than it is for Helen to just continually be chasing this idealized version of Madeline, and trying to outdo
Yeah.
her. I kind of like watching the race, watching this person advance forward and then that person advance forward. And I like seeing that for Helen too. You can feel the gratification from her. Um, because we already get a scene like that with
Mhm.
Madeline when she's in her dressing room, meeting Ernest for the first time. The way the way she's flaunting herself, the way she's like completely dismissing everything that Helen does, just kind of like whatever happened to that writing thing. And the way
Yeah.
she's like getting in Ernest's face, going, "Do you think that I am starting to need you?" To the point where Helen has to like get between them, and go, "Ah," you know. And so to see the power switch and to see Helen being not only the person getting Ernest's attention, but seeing her getting the attention from everyone in the room. And actually, I don't think it's about Ernest all that much either. I feel like
Mhm.
he's kind of, again, like a symptom and not a cause. Um,
Yeah.
because you see it when he wants to go across the room, and maybe it's just the way Meryl plays it. He says, like, "Come on, let's go talk to her." And she goes, "No, I'll talk to her." And there's no jealousy over like, "No, Ernest, you can't go near her because you can't be trusted, or neither can she." It's more like a, "No, I don't want to have anything, but you know what? I want to get a better look, so I'm gonna go talk to her." And everything about, again, like the technical aspects of this movie, this is purely lighting and maybe makeup, but they put this incredible harsh daylight bulb across the side of Meryl's face as she gets closer and closer, trying to, like crossing the patio, trying to
Mhm.
find a flaw in Helen's face or body. She's not seeing anything. And then there's this final moment where she hesitates. And it's probably the oldest she looks in the whole movie for me, where you just see these shadows in these creases on her face, and even like, like these circles under her eyes.
Yeah.
And she looks completely lost. Her mouth is just agape and her eyes are wide, and she does a very comical head turn and, "I'm gonna walk away." And that's when Helen sees her and she goes, "Mad? Help!" And Goldie gets to do one of her secret, "I'm gonna kill you" eyes.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, because it's just like I think that their motivations are slightly different,
Yeah.
where Madeline obviously wants the youth of it all.
Hmm.
For Helen, there's clearly this murder fantasy that has
Yes.
been
Hmm.
growing since at least 1985, where
Yes.
she's watching the one movie of her getting strangled over and
Dark
over again.
Windows. Yeah.
And and I mean, it's even like I don't, and that's the thing. I don't know what her initial plan was, because it's just because she's sitting at home and she's rehearsing in the mirror. She's like, I need to speak to Madeline immediately, or
Yes.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's just like she's not even home. She's like, oh, good, like
Oh, thank
forget it.
God.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like was she planning on just killing her right then and there? Is that what was going to happen?
No, I think the reason she was relieved was because the point was to get the plot
Hmm.
communicated to Ernest. So if Madeline had been there, she would have had to make a scene, I guess, excuse herself and hope that Ernest would chase her down and then they could talk. But because she's not there,
Hmm.
it's like, "Oh, great, now I can seduce you. Now I can take my time. I can lay it out
Hmm.
for you." 3 times they talked about it.
Yeah. So
Uh, yeah.
yeah, I don't think that the like for her it was like a matter of advancing beyond her. I mean, like that was obviously a caveat
Yeah, a
to
perk.
to
Yeah.
all of it. And it it definitely just felt like it was just like we want to realize this murder scheme. And
Hmm.
you could just tell when, like, after he pushes her down the stairs and he's calling her and he's just like, I did this, and it just cuts back to Goldie Hawn and she's like, what part of the plan exactly did you misunderstand?
Yes.
I think it's the only time
Because we
we
went
we
over it
s-
three
her
times,
yeah,
Ernest.
yeah.
And then she has to
uh,
try and think of something else, and he's like,
yeah.
"Well, I'm thinking." But
Mhm.
oh, that's another thing. We haven't really talked about Bruce Willis much, and I don't think anybody watches this movie for Bruce Willis, but that's actually probably why I think it's one of my favorite performances, if not maybe my favorite performance I've ever seen him give, because it's not the usual kind of like, wisecracking man in charge action movie hero that we've gotten used to seeing him do. And it's also not like the latter kind of like quiet, stoic but river of emotions going on inside of him, M. Night Shyamalan protagonist that we got used to a few years later.
Mhm.
Um, And it's not the confident, good-looking banter guy from Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd back in the day. Anybody who remembers that TV show, totally worth your time. He's great in it, but he's just kind of this shell of a person. I mean, on the surface of it, I think he's supposed to be thought of as a relatively decent guy, but I think he's really weak-willed and really, really easily threatened. I think the strongest thing he does actually is, at the end of the movie when he finally leaves them, but and pursues a life kind of like making amends for all of the shit that he ate and took for the first 50 years of his life and all the bad choices he made. I think he was also atoning for like the mistakes he made as well, because he murdered his wife, but and not even in the carefully plotted way together. Like he threw both his and Helen's life in jeopardy. But I don't know. There's something about watching Bruce and watching him be in the background. Oh, I started to say this, like the amount of times that Robert Zemeckis uses a mirror. There's one where I think it's the Helen scene where she's clutching her kerchief and there's a mirror behind her and he's standing like kind of past the camera, but his face is reflected in the mirror that's right behind Helen's. So you can see two performances happening simultaneously. There's another time where Madeline is driving. It's right after she took the potion. She's about to drive through the gate to return home from taking the potion, and she's just kind of looking at herself, just tossing her hair and making little coy faces and going, and I think there was one more in there, but yeah, so he loves reflections in this. But anyway, Bruce Willis. I just love how little of Bruce Willis as whatever sense of him I get. Like, you always get a sense of celebrities if you've seen them in multiple things. There's always a way you would assume them to be. And the amount of, I guess, beta male, or even just like taking a back seat because like the women do dominate in this film and it's structured that way. I think that's intentional. I like the fact that he took on this project, a project where he's not going to be the impetus for anyone to go see it. Nobody thinks of this as a Bruce Willis movie.
No.
He's actually, I think, of the three of them, the one who gets mentioned the least in discussions about it. And I understand it, and at the same time, I kind of commend him for being that, for a change. You know what I mean?
Do you know who was originally offered the role?
Of Ernest? No.
Yeah.
That I
Kevin
don't know.
Kline.
Oh.
Yeah. Kevin Kline, for anyone who didn't catch that. But
Yeah. That would have been interesting.
yeah.
Another really, really good
I think
actor.
it would I think it would have been a different interpretation of it. For sure.
100%.
What is Kevin Kline retired? Like, when was the last time he was in something?
The last thing that I saw him in was the Alan Cumming, Jennifer Jason Leigh movie, The Anniversary Party, and he was playing a retired actor in that. No, he wasn't retired. He was the star of the family, but he was working less and less. Phoebe Cates, who was his wife in real life, played his wife. She was retired. Sorry, I mixed them up. But he was working less and less in that movie. He was Cal Gold. That was his name. And that was like back in like I think 2000. That was like, 25 years ago. So I'm sure he's done something since then, but I can't for the life of me think what it would be. I feel like he takes up too much space on screen. I'm trying to think, because I mean, it's largely a background character. I wonder if the functionality would have been completely different because he can dominate a scene. Not that Bruce Willis can't, but I wonder if he'd be able to fade into the background the way Bruce Willis does in an effective way, in the way the movie needs him to. I don't know.
He's still acting. He does do you watch Bob's Burgers?
Oh, oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Isn't he the mayor?
It just says Mr. Fischoeder.
Yeah,
I guess
Mr.
that's the name.
Fischoeder. And I think he becomes the mayor at some point.
Yeah, 44 episodes.
Yeah, he gets to be the
listed on here.
eccentric old man. Yeah, he's really, really funny on it. Okay. I knew there was something, but I couldn't
Yeah.
remember because I haven't seen Bob's Burgers in a minute.
Oh, he was in the live action Beauty and the Beast update. He played Maurice.
Oh, he played Belle's dad in that. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, God, wonder why I forgot that. Not his fault, but Jesus Christ, that adaptation is a
Yeah.
slog. Um, There's
Yeah, no, he's been working.
yeah, good for him.
But Bruce Willis, I mean, because he's retired now, because he's suffering. Does he have
Dementia.
dementia?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
has dementia.
that's
Yeah.
unfortunate. Because I know like his
Yeah.
career, like towards the end of like it, because he was just doing like a lot of those, those VOD movies, like the ones that are just like
Hmm.
you look up on IMDb, they've got like a rating of 3.5 or something like that.
Right.
He had a lot of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to say. I mean, oh, but
Hmm.
I mean, another thing that made me think about another movie while I was watching his performance in this, I actually realized I'm like, oh, he's actually kind of giving me Seymour in Little Shop of Horrors energy when especially when he's like working on Madeline and then Helen shows up. He's like, ah, and all of his shrieking and everything. I'm just kind of like, oh, he's like the guy in the weak-willed guy in the glasses who can't get a grip on anything and who's just kind
I
of going to extremes. You know what I mean?
we already made a South Park reference earlier, but I think everyone will understand this. He is the Butters of the movie.
When Butters grows up, he's going to be an Ernest Menville for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
If ever there was a beta male, and I don't even use that terminology, but I'm just talking energy, essence.
Hmm.
There was one line that I misheard for the longest time until I finally, I think, got the DVD DVD or Blu-ray, can't remember. I got one of each. But I remember looking at the subtitles and saying, oh, because it's when it's after Madeline has killed Helen and he's flipping out and he
Hmm.
says, oh my God, Madeline, that was horrible. It was brutal. It was stupid. But he doesn't, maybe in SD, I couldn't really hear brutal. I always thought he would tell her it was rude and it was stupid. So I
Hmm.
thought it was a comedy line. Like, it's really rude shooting someone in your own house. But it also occurred to me for the first time, like, even though Helen made a plot to kill of the three of them, she's the only one who didn't kill anyone. Because Ernest killed Madeline, Madeline killed
Hmm.
Helen. Helen never got to kill anybody. Not got to, I mean, I don't wish
Hmm.
that on anyone, but I don't know, I just kind of thought
Well,
like,
that we know of. Yeah.
yeah. There's also other line deliveries that I adore. I love what Goldie Hawn does after she and Madeline have been freshly painted, and they're
Hmm.
just in their negligees or their lingerie, just milling about and just going, not a blemish, not a pore, and then they realize they can't keep doing this because the little peel comes off of Helen's shoulder. And oh my
Yeah.
God, does she look gray? She's already like decomposing like nobody's business. It's scary. But they decide they have, like, what if it rains? What if it chips? Will they come back for touch-ups? And they decide they're going to try and give him the potion, and that's when Madeline says, he's not going to drink the potion. He's not going to go to Liesl's. You heard him. He's made up his mind about leaving. And I just love the fact that Helen's line on paper is, that's true, we have to respect that. But Goldie decides to deliver it like, curses, like, oh, that's true, we have to respect that. And then, and then says, kind of, you know what? She doesn't kill anyone, but she does plan to drug someone and then finally does because she says, I know, we'll drug him. And I'm like, because you got the Narcanol left that you were going to use on Madeline. So now you're going to put it in Ernest's morning, whatever he's drinking. What is it supposed, I guess, whiskey, scotch. And
Well, he had like the Bloody Marys
he had
earlier.
the Bloody Marys, but when they come
Yeah.
out, they have a tray of something brown, like, and
Okay.
it's a big bowl, like it's almost a vase of a tumbler that they
Oh
decide to
wow.
serve him,
A
and it's
carafe.
filled, yeah, almost filled to the brim. It's a
Yeah.
big wide rimmed glass, and it's filled
Yeah.
almost to the brim. Like, thought you might like some breakfast, and then he does again
He
another
gives it to the
wonderful.
plant. Yeah.
Yeah, but even before that, while he's carrying it and they're following him and he's just making it move all over the place, lived up to my part. Till
Yeah.
death do us part. Well, you girls are dead and I'm parting. There's just a little bit left of this to drink. You know what? I drink too much. I'm going to do the first healthy thing for myself that I've done the whole movie, and it's and then I'm going to get hit on the head with two
Hmm.
vases, almost fall down the stairs, but get saved, but almost, because I mean, he still he kind of face plants in the other direction when they save him,
Yeah.
for their own selfish purposes.
Hmm.
Um, do you think how much of what transpires between Matt and Hell do you think is actually about Ernest? Or and how valid do you think? I guess Madeline, I don't think she ever really had valid feelings for Ernest, but Helen, I do. I think they just got lost in the shuffle. How about you?
Mm, yeah, I mean, maybe at the start, but after a while, it was so much had happened. I think that if she did love Ernest,
Yeah,
she hated Madeline more.
that's true. That's a good way of
And they
putting it,
say that
actually.
hate is just another form of love. So I think that she
100%.
really she her feelings were more the movie is about a relationship between them. It's not about
Yeah.
him in any sense of the word. But the and this is like my only like real gripe with the movie is sort of like
Oh.
just the ending because it feels very sudden. Like from the start to pretty much the end, it feels like everything is kind of like a cause and effect of what's happening. It just like it's a very smooth run through. Like
Mm-hmm.
most of the movie takes place on like the one night and then
Mm.
like we get to the whole thing and he escapes the party and then Liesel's like you need to go after him, get him, like yada yada yada. So it feels like there's this impetus to like we're getting into like the final stretch of the movie and there's like we're at the climax here even though we just had like
Mm.
this big scene at the mansion and then they just go I guess they went to the airport or whatever and we didn't see that but then they go back to the mansion and they're just sort of like walking through the yard and it just sort of like, well, I guess we have each other. We can do it. Like it's almost like there was this build up to something and then it just sort of like, never mind. And which then leads into the the final, I guess the epilogue
Yeah.
of the piece, if you will. So it just there was something about it, even though it like led up into it, it just felt like, okay, we just took a sharp left turn, and now we're just like they gave up very easily, and I could just imagine like what has the last because I guess that 1992 to 2029.
Yeah.
So that's what 37 years?
7 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because this is 37 years later.
Yeah, Tim.
Um, like what was their life and that like they're just because that's the whole thing. It's just like they're carrying around the paint spray.
Yeah.
It's like they have to take care of each other. Like these two are miserable and they're
Yeah.
not doing it well. They can't make themselves look
No.
the way that he had done it. So I don't know. It just it seemed like there like it felt like there would have been more motivation to keep going. Like there wasn't like the stakes were really high and they just sort of caved really quickly. You know what I
Do you
mean?
think you would have preferred the original ending?
So I know the original ending, like they happen upon him.
Well, this is the
Well,
thing. The way
yeah.
Goldie described it, because there was this after interview that they had with my tape that I taped, and I remember I watched it over and over and over again, so that's also memorized. I remember Goldie saying in the interview that 37 years later, same amount of time, so it's 2029, and they're both sitting there and they're just the same.
Hmm.
37 years later. The paint wasn't all messed up. They had done a good job, like keeping themselves, because they weren't really decomposing and they, whatever.
Hmm.
They were, it was still eternal life and eternal whatever youth is when you're dead.
Hmm.
And, and they were sitting against this backdrop of mountains and lakes.
Hmm.
And they were bored. And the way Goldie punched it was she said, like, you really get more of a sense of like the message of the movie with the fact that like 37 years later you're bored, after it with this prospect of eternal life and how glistening you're going to like move through everything and you're just bored because you're earthbound and you're like, what the fuck? And Helen and Madeline they hate each other, but it's
Hmm.
not in a comical way, or at least, not slapstick comedy. They're sitting
Hmm.
there and they're just kind of going over these places, like suggesting, like, well, do you want to go to London? It's like, I've been to, and it's like, well, I don't know, what about Paris? It's like Italy or and it's again, and they don't, and they hate each other because all they have is each other, as you mentioned. And then they just look across this window that they're sitting at. I guess they're in a hallway, and they see inside this hospital room in this bed a very elderly man, version of Ernest, and he has a woman who's sitting there, and they're not saying anything to each other. It's actually really moving when I think about it, because he's just touching the hand of this woman who's obviously his wife or
Which I
life
think
partner.
is believe is Tracy Ullman's
I
character.
guess so,
Yeah.
yeah. And Goldie didn't confirm that, but she
Yeah.
says, um, uh, Madeline looks at them and says something like, "Isn't that pitiful? Look how old they are." And Helen just kind of starts beaming with longing and a lost opportunity for what she could have had with Ernest and what she chose instead of
Hmm.
him, I guess. Or I guess what he chose. I mean, but basically something was lost, and Goldie loved that, you know. And Madeline says something like, "Aren't you aren't you glad we're not like them?" You know, trying to make herself feel better. And Helen got to say yes and mean no. And that was the end of the movie.
Hmm.
And in Goldie's eyes, that was really what the movie was supposed to say. And that's the reason, part of the reason that she took it, because she felt like all the themes that they were, you know, kind of dancing around like pillars throughout this comedy were just kind of pushed to the forefront, everything deflated. And because, and it, they shot it, they tested it for audiences, and it did not test well. I wonder
Hmm.
why.
Well, I think it's just tonally
Yeah, exactly. It's
different,
that,
but
talk about a sharp curve. Like
yeah,
that is a left turn at the traffic
a
lights abrupt.
very a very Helen
And
sharp turn. Well,
yeah.
Amethyst is saying Tony is a bartender who Ern always visits. After
Oh,
Ernest
okay.
escapes Liesel's, a bar patron collapses and dies. Tony tells the police that he's Ernest, and then
Um,
they run off together. So Ernest still had the potion in this ending, so Madeline and Helen came looking for him. And after Tony gave the potion back to Madeline, she confirms the dead body is Ernest without actually looking. I think the original ending had more to say, but the theatrical ending fits the tone of the rest of the movie more. I still wish we could have all the cut footage released somehow.
I do
Um,
too. All of the above, I agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, a simple fix might have been if like and just to like contextualize it with like this secret society, let's say if
Mm,
Ernest escaped and rather than Liesel just been like, this is your responsibility, go after it. Because it's like, this is kind of on you too. Like you, there's some stakes in this for you too. It would have been interesting if like all of them, like it just like there was this whole like cavalcade of people chasing after Ernest. Like they were chasing, it was like a car chase or something. And let's
mm.
just say Ernest like got into a bad wreck or whatever. And then, but the police like showed up and like paramedics and they were able to save him. And they, all the, whomever, whatever we're calling them, they sort of disappeared. And Ernest, like, maybe he had amnesia, but like that part of his memory was wiped out. So they're like, okay, he's not going to tell whatever. But then
Mm.
there's Helen and Madeline, and they're just left there, and they're like, "Well, shit, what are we gonna do now?" At least it would have felt like there was some finality to it, and like they're rather than them coming to a decision and deciding, okay, well, we're just gonna look after each other, they were just sort of forced into it because of the events and like how they played out.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think I like the irony of the fact that just when this bridge is built between the two of them, after there's
Yeah.
been a wall for so many years, that it just comes tumbling down, and now it's like, oh my gosh, let's link arms and laugh, and we're the only two people who understand this, and that's, you know, that's all fine and great, but we do need someone, so let's get him. I saw in the feed earlier, people were discussing possibly Liesel taking Ernest on to possibly help with other maybe undead clients that she had that she couldn't find. Maybe she
Mm.
did have a stake in keeping him alive forever because maybe she needed somebody in her back
Oh,
pocket.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, right? I didn't think about that
Yeah.
either.
I'm just curious, like, what did he use to fill up? Um,
I
on
thought
my
about that
stomach.
too.
Yeah.
I
What
I
was
feel
in
like
there?
I feel like Undertakers everywhere would know exactly what he did,
Yeah.
you know, to try and make them casket ready, open casket ready.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, like, there's something about the punch and I guess the comedic hydraulics that are going on, because that's what it feels like. It feels like whoo hoo ha ha, even the way they're fighting. There's I mean, okay, this is another thing that I really actually kind of appreciate about the ending we got is the fact that from the actor's standpoint, because I don't really have an indictment of particularly those three actors, and we'll talk about Despero Rossellini in a minute, but just the three of them, the performances they turn in make the movie for me. And I love that the way we find them are at this very somber event of Ernest's funeral, or not even somber, but still, everybody's, he seems to have inspired, a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life to come and assemble in this church and honor him. And he has adopted children all over the world and everything. And then we just go to these two outsiders at the back, shrouded at the back of the church. And we just see this gloved hand opening up his little memorial pamphlet or whatever. And she starts laughing out loud, completely out of touch with everything that's going on in the proceedings, passes it to Helen. And Helen laughs even louder. And the two of them, I don't know what the fuck they're laughing at. But maybe it's a quote. Maybe it's just a happenstance that they knew about from his past. I don't know. But whatever it is, there's a recognition there. And like I said, I do think that Helen felt something for Ernest. And I'm glad that we get like a glimpse of it here, that she's the only one who seems to be shedding a tear, at the at the proceedings, but denies it. Again, she feels something, denies it. So that's like a holdover from the OG ending at least. But she goes, "Oh, what? You're not crying, are you?" "I'm not crying. I just have something in my eye." And then she takes off half her face. The paint comes off. She's like, "Oh, do you have that number 9 acrylic?" And immediately they're consumed with themselves again, start arguing, and then just say, "Let's just get the hell out of here," when they're in a church and are tumbling over each other. They both are obviously, Helen's having problem with her hips, and Madeline's having problems with her knees. And, I think the thing I appreciate the most about it is just the line at the end when they all both fall apart for probably the umpteenth time, and that one head just rolls into position to the other head, and they just sit there blinking. There's something inherently funny about it, and then you just hear, "Do you remember where you parked the car?" Because somehow they're going to get reassembled, and somehow they're going to sustain. I don't know. There's something kind of.
Maybe, or maybe that's just it. Maybe they're just like they end up in a museum. What are you, someone, unless the secret society was exposed and people are like, "Oh, this," but I don't think they would have been, because like when they're giving the eulogy, they mention like the idea of like
Yeah,
the
his tall tales of the.
yeah, so nobody would believe it. So I'm just wondering, like, that funeral ends, everyone walks out, like, just say you were there.
Yes.
I'm just like the final question of the podcast before we get to the cherry picker. What is your how do you respond to that? How do you react? You see these living dead, like, just pieces that are like plaster, made of plaster of just
I'd be shocked initially, but then I have no doubt that they'd be like, "Excuse me, could you just pass that over here?" And I'd probably be inclined to help because something's going on that I don't quite fathom,
yeah.
but
You wouldn't be
somebody's
kind of
somebody's
freaked
asking for
out by
help.
it? Yeah.
I'd be freaked out initially. I'd probably go,
You're
but
like, oh,
also
you wouldn't want to run away.
I've seen the movie now, so I'd probably think like, "Oh, they must have taken the
No, no,
potion."
no.
So,
Well, you exist in
you mean
this
I'm in the
universe, so
movie?
you don't
I'm in the
you don't know.
universe.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I would run away because I'm not that person. I think
Yeah.
I'd probably have questions. I probably have about 11 questions immediately and only ask maybe one as I'm helping them because
Yeah.
they owe me some kind of explanation. But also, it seems, I don't want to be a jerk. I want to help these poor ladies on the pavement. How about you?
Oh no, I'm getting the fuck out of there. I mean, my initially I would think like, is this like a Halloween 3 situation with like the Ellie bot at the end.
What do you mean?
Remember the
Where?
the end of the
Yeah.
Halloween 3 with that when she because like he knocks off the head and she's just sort of like after like several attempts to like get him and then she's just left there and like the eyes are still twitching and
No, I think they reassemble themselves. I think the fact that
I
they're
don't
not phased by it
yeah.
tells us this has happened before. And it's just like, all right, well,
I
we'll
mean
we'll
maybe
figure it out.
maybe or maybe they're just so bored that they're like okay, this has finally happened.
The fact that the chief concern is just a way to needle each other. It's just like, do you
Yeah.
remember where you parked the car? Like, I'm putting it on you because
Yeah.
I can't be expected to remember things like that. But
Yeah.
oh, and before we close it out, I just want Isabella Rossellini just straddling the amazing heights that she did here. I had seen her before, but this was the first thing I really saw her like command a screen, and she's another one who I'm just kind of like perfect casting, perfect aesthetic, but also just the spirit of it. I think she understands the humor. I think she understands the weight. I think she gives everything that that performance needs. And again, it's just kind of like emblematic of, again, like you said, the universe of this
Mhm.
particular world. If Liesel doesn't work, then it kind of stops being fun. So the fact that she and Meryl Streep so perfectly execute the sequencing of their transaction,
Mhm.
I can watch that over and over and over again. And yeah. So I think she deserves her props. We've been talking about like that trio, but
Mhm.
she definitely is a memorable character. Gives an incredible performance that I would not feel uncomfortable making her feel uncomfortable. Just doing an impression of her for her. I'd probably have to put a cap on it at some point, but I would love to just shake her hand and tell her I no words and no notes, you're perfection. I love you. That's how I just wanted to put that out there about Isabella
Yeah.
Rossellini.
Very good.
Who do you feel more like, Madeline or Helen?
Neither.
You have to pick one. Who's more Scorpio? Because Helen can hold a
Prob
grudge.
yeah, Helen, I guess.
Okay.
You mentioned that there's like because her whenever Madeline was called sheep, that was a trigger, but there was also the when she said that she was a bad actress because you that
Oh
scene
yeah,
that shot that I love of just like the
the
hand
nails.
clasping the pillar and the nails scratching into the wood. That was the thing that sent her over the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't
Also,
even like the trying to kill her. It was just
no.
that, you know?
She was a bad actress.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two of them, my God. Oh God, yeah.
So which one are
I
you?
I'm probably I think I'd like to think that I'm as well-meaning and decent as Helen can be, and probably am. But Madeline, I think I'm getting more and more Madeline Ashton as I get older. I was Helen at 13, and now in my mid 40s, I'm very Madeline, I think. I just she everything she did in this movie made sense to me.
All right.
And
Very
also,
good.
Meryl plays her with an incredible vulnerability at times. Like, when should I even I'm screaming and nobody's heard me. Nobody did anything, and I'm scared. And she just regresses into a little girl sometimes when she, and the
Mm,
levels. Meryl finds all the
yeah,
levels.
she
Anyway, there you
does.
go.
All right. Well, let's get to the cherry picker.
It's not like we kill people on purpose.
All righty. First order of business, we need a cherry on top.
I mean, I would lean into
It's
Madeline.
Meryl. It's
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Meryl Ashton, Madeline
Ma
Streep.
Madeline Streep,
Yeah, yeah,
100%,
yeah.
because
For
Jesus Christ,
she's all the quotes.
she's all the
She
quotes.
is the quotes. Yeah. All right.
Uh,
Last week we asked you who deserves to die the most in Final Destination 4.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, the names here, because actually the character does have a name. So I nominated uh, Carter Daniels. So, aka racist. He's just listed as racist
Right, right, right.
in the credits, but apparently his name is Carter Daniels. Was there like a novelization tie-in?
I
Uh,
guess.
or it was in the original script. And you nominated Hunt Wynorski.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Hunt Wynorski. And across Patreon, Instagram, and YouTube, the final tally was 532 for Carter versus 114 for Hunt.
Okay. Thanks,
You
guys,
no,
for showing
there we go. Yeah, I was waiting
Yeah,
for thanks.
you're waiting for my
Thanks.
usual.
Yeah, your usual performance.
Oh,
Yeah,
stop.
stop you.
I did not, said Madeline. Go on.
Thomas Baker, Carter, 100%. Jazzy Boo, Carter for obvious reasons, but Hunt also needs to die again for obvious reasons. But
Hmm.
Hunt is kind of hot, so he gets a very small pass. Mad Apple, Hunt, what a hunt he is. I guess that was like that's supposed to be a different word. Um, D. John, Carter, of course. Dan's Gaming. Have to go with Carter. Also, Carter died by fire and Hunter died by water. How can we use that? FVJ reference.
Yes, that was great. I
was a good
reposted
one.
that on my Instagram story and said like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't think of that."
It's
I wish I could have brought
very
that
true.
to the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least it's on the pod now, so good.
It's there. Yeah. Hippie Noir. Hunt was such a fuckboy, but Carter was truly awful. Danny D. Forco. I,
Okay.
or is it Darko? Danny Darko, but it's with a four. Um, script forum.
Yeah, here you go.
Carter, because he is basically the hated character by default, having no personality traits other than being a horrible racist. Hunt at least had the mentality of here for a good time, but not a long time. Though
Oh.
douchey, he knew to enjoy the time he had left practicing what William Bloodworth preached in FD Bloodlines.
Okay. I mean, he was just being selfish, but okay. There's
The
another way to look at it.
The Blake Parade. A white supremacist and a guy who's kind of mean. What an impossible decision. Carter. Mark Lynn, mostly Carter, as I much like Hunt. Even when I'm gonna get laid, if I'm dying, I'm trying. Marcus Connerly, Hunt was a douche, but at least he wasn't a racist who was actively trying to perform a hate crime. I was hoping one of you would pick Janet. She annoyed the shit out of me. I mean, sorry, I was meant to see this poorly named random action movie. Too bad she wasn't in the same theater as Phil and Maureen, so Ghostface
Oh, God.
could have gotten her next.
But she didn't perform a hate crime either. All right, whatever. Different strokes for different folks.
She only gave a penny to the homeless guy. She had more change than that.
Okay, well.
10B Spencer got a vote for Hunt after Zack said "fuck you" to me last time.
Oh!
Nah, I voted for Hunt because I honestly didn't remember the racist guy at all from the pictures. Plus, Hunt is really good looking, so he voted for him anyway. And guess what? Fuck you again.
Wow,
Love ya.
doubling down. Yeah, right.
Love you, 10B. Bruno Salata. At least Hunt is eye candy. Racist doesn't even have that. Yikes. Oh, that's mean. He's a real actor.
Now
Silent.
okay.
Now, Now we're
The line for
now
what's
the
mean and what
line is
isn't.
now the line is crossed. Silent Saturn. We talked about this. Stop nominating the hot one, Eddie. This movie
Why?
has so little going for it. The eye candy that are Bobby and Nick is about the only good thing in it. Racist guy gets the chop, obviously.
It's not about whether they're hot or not. It's about
Who's
whether they deserve to die.
who's Bobby? Did I miss
Is
something?
Bobby, I don't remember. I remember Nick was the main guy, so he's not talking about the
Nick
main
is
guy.
the man.
Which one's
Unless
Bobby?
he's like Bob. I'm just thinking like going back to the Bobby of Trafalgar Square, because that's the only
No.
Bobby, the Bobbies that I know.
I think I mentioned somebody else being hot in that movie, but I can't remember. Let me see if I can find a Bobby.
Was he the mechanic?
Him? All right. I mean, I
I
don't
I
know.
have no idea. I don't know who Bobby
I see
could be.
George. I see. I didn't write a Bobby. I don't even remember who Bobby is. So
Okay.
maybe I
Um,
guess he was in the movie, but I don't remember him.
XXRE2 Evil XX. Carter 100%. His name doesn't even show up in the end credits as he comes up as racist. And Grant Dempsey says, worst Carter in the franchise.
That's
Because if
funny.
you'll remember, we also have Kerr Smith
Yes,
as Carter. Kerr Smith.
that's saying something because he was
Yeah.
pretty bad. But I guess he redeemed himself by the end, right? He was no longer a hothead. They were still hanging out with him, so he
Yeah,
must have
well,
turned over a new
he had
leaf.
no other friends. I mean, I don't think he
Yeah.
ever had any friends. I think he just had Terry.
Maybe they had just
Um,
adjusted to the abuse.
maybe
Clear and
Claire.
Devin. Yeah.
Claire.
What's Devin's name again in it?
Devin Evans. No,
No,
Alex
Devin
Browning.
Sawa. Alex, right.
Yeah.
Alex and Clear.
Alex Browning and Clear Rivers.
Yes. I
Yeah.
remember Clear Rivers.
Clear.
It even said, didn't it say Clear Rivers on like a
There
water
was well,
truck or something in the fourth
that was
movie?
the hint that was letting them know that someone was gonna die by water.
Right.
Yeah.
And then by fire, how can we use that? All right,
Yeah.
next.
That's it. So,
Oh, the Nick actor's first name is Bobby, is what
oh,
Amethyst is saying. So I guess, okay.
or no, well, he says Bobby and Nick
Oh,
going for the eye candy that are Bobby and Nick is the
I guess
man.
the actor and the character? I
Silent
don't.
Saturn is not here to explain this, so I'm sure we'll find out at some point. But
All
anyway,
right.
there is a Bobby in the new one, but we're talking about the Final Destination.
Hmm.
It's so weird to say the because it makes it sound like it's the important one, you know?
Or, well, the last one.
Yeah.
Emphasis
The
on the final
the
it's the final
the
destination.
final. Why don't they just call it final destination? Uh
Final destination, finally.
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Who am I gonna nominate? I'm gonna nominate because like there's not a lot of characters in this movie.
No.
There really isn't, which is making this kind of difficult. Um, I'm gonna go with Dakota.
Okay.
It just because he couldn't even, he's a liar and he couldn't even do it quickly.
And then that smirk when he gets caught, just kind of like, well, I mean, what were you expecting? Yeah, he's kind of a shit.
Yeah,
Um, okay. Yeah, that would have been funny if Madeline would have gone back to kill him. That's what she was leaving to do. She got her little
maybe. Yeah,
black onesie and she got her little sheer, kind of purple pink-ish robe and then grabbed a 180 or I don't know what kind of guns are there. She grabbed a rifle, the rifle that she shot Ellen with, and then went out and then put 2 slugs in his back. But anyway, okay, cool. And that's it. That's your
yeah.
you're so much
I
quicker
will
than
just.
I am.
I know. I usually am, but just because Craig answered the question. Hunt was played by Nick Zano. So it's Nick
Oh,
and Bobby. Nick and Bobby.
Okay, that makes sense.
Bobby's World. Do you remember that cartoon, Bobby's World?
Yeah, Howie
Yeah.
Mandel doing
Yeah.
his little Bobby voice. Oh, he's so cute. Okay.
Bobby.
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
did the same voice for Skeeter in Muppet Babies before that. But anyway,
Oh.
yeah, right?
What
Um,
about Skater and Doug? Honk
oh,
honk. He
Skeeter and
was always
Doug,
like making those honking sounds.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, he didn't do that Skeeter, but
Okay.
oh
Well.
God, Doug. Do, do,
Do
do,
do do do
do,
do 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 do. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Anyway,
do.
now I'm going on long.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer the question in a different way this time. Who deserves to die the most in this movie? I'm gonna make a case for Ernest because he rejects the potion. He chose mortality, and I think he chose right, and he used the opportunity to right everything in his life, so he deserves to die the most in this movie, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, weird angle, different angle than we usually do, because usually it's
It's
like wrath upon you. But I think honestly, he did the best he could. He made a lot of mistakes in his first 50 years, and then he tried to atone for them and died the way he wanted to. So he deserved it, I think. I think if you can earn a death, that's the way to do it. So that's my choice.
okay. Awesome. Well, I put the poll up
Yeah.
for
Oh, you
for
spelled it
our
with an
for
A. Ernest in
oh, did
earnest.
I do
Like he
Ernest?
said, he said
Ern
it earnestly.
I added an A,
The
Ernest.
importance of being earnest.
Ernest.
It's okay. Just don't do it on
It's
the
just
official
don't
poll.
just don't do it officially. Don't do it officially. It's just
Yes.
like the time I nominated Bobby, because is it also spelled Bobby, or is it
Yeah,
Bobbi or Bobbie?
you got me.
Yeah.
I love that Grant here is saying Elvis. Elvis
What?
deserved Elvis deserved to die the most.
Elvis, yeah.
I mean, we got to see Andy Warhol, James Dean, Jim Morrison, Marilyn Monroe, and Greta Garbo. I thought Marilyn looked the best out of all of them. James
A,
Dean
ne-
didn't look bad.
a nest in the ear.
Ernest in the ear.
A nest. Yeah.
Ernest.
Any
Is he French now?
Ernest. I mean, maybe he can go work for the spa, you know?
With a fake French accent. That's all you need to do to work at Chagall's.
Yeah, Chagall's. Is that what it's called? Chagall's?
Yeah, there's a something. I can't remember if it's on the card that when she reassembles it, or if it's like on an archway or something, or maybe it's on her name tag. Somewhere it says Chagall's. So I'm like, oh, all right, that's where she
I just
went.
think of like Seagulls.
No, it's her
Like
spa. It's her
Steven
spa. 'Cause it's
Seagulls.
it's
Yeah.
Mr. Chagall. Oh my God, how great would
Oh
Jennifer
my
Tilly have been
God, Mr. Sugar.
as the
Well,
French?
or I mean, Jennifer Tilly. Well, okay, I was gonna say Jennifer Tilly and Meg Tilly as Madeline
Oh,
um,
ooh. Oh my God, who would
and
play who?
Helen, but I think I would much rather prefer the whatever happened to Baby Jane with the Tillys.
But okay, cast them. You have to cast them in the roles.
Meg would obviously be Blanche,
Okay,
and Jennifer would be
Baby
Jane.
Jane.
Yeah,
And
and
in
I
Death
don't know who
Becomes
would
Her?
no, and whatever happened to Baby Jane.
No, but in Death Becomes Her,
Oh,
who
and
would you
Death Becomes Her.
cast?
I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I was just thinking about whatever happened to Baby Jane, and I tweeted that once, and Jennifer Tilly liked it.
Oh my gosh, I
So
would watch that.
the seed has been planted. You know, if they want
Real
to,
Sisters again. It worked so well when the Redgraves
yeah.
did it.
Well, if they want to do like a proper remake of
Yeah,
whatever
a
happened, and I feel like
cinematic
enough time
release.
has passed. You know, it's antiquated.
Yeah,
We can. This is the kind of thing we can be remaking here. Get the
yeah.
Tilly sisters in there. Who would play the Victor Bueno?
Ooh, I'd want it to be another big guy, but he has to be gay. Shit.
Oh, who's the James Corden?
No, he's not gay. And I don't need him in another movie. I'm done. I am done with James Corden. No, keep him away from my gay shit. Don't let him play gay men anymore. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. I don't care. But if he does it, I'm not going to go see it. I'm sorry. I know there are people who really like him now, and I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
But
Amethyst is saying just make it Brad Dourif.
or
Living
ooh,
with his even older mother.
and who's going to play the Mady Norman role? The Elvira, the housekeeper, the
Tyra
caretaker.
Banks. With
Tyra
her
as Elvira.
with her sugar daddies just doing the
Yes,
dances.
I was just thinking that she's going to make up that Elvira has like a sugar addiction. So she'll find the rat and she'll just dip it in some chocolate sauce and she'll be good to go. Oh my God, Tyra.
Anyway, yeah. So those are your options. You can vote for Dakota, or you can vote for Ernest.
Ernest.
What
Who's
was his
winning the
last
poll
name?
now? Ernest Menville.
Menville. Is that
Yes.
like men?
Men.
Men.
Dr. Mendville.
Mendville.
Yes.
It is
The right
67.
choice. The only choice. Drink. Siempre viva. Anyway, go on.
It is currently 67% for Dakota.
Oh, okay. We'll see if that sticks.
Yes, we'll see if that sticks. Vote your heart, vote your conscience. Leave your conscience at the door, if you will.
And now we're French again.
And now we're French. But it's classy. And you can vote by going over to, what are all the places? Help me out here.
Instagram,
There's
YouTube.
Instagram. If you go to Instagram, the handle is at the Cherry Picker Pod, I believe, right?
You are losing your grip.
I don't remember anymore. It's hard to keep
Turning
up with
into
this
me.
shit.
No, one of us has to remember. We can't rely on Amethyst for everything.
I know we've gotten to a point where we've just been so
Spoiled?
mollycoddled.
Yes.
But it's just like, what is it? Mollycoddled. The Cherry Picker Pod. Follow us there. Vote on the poll there. You can go to YouTube if you're listening to this. Make sure you subscribe if you're even watching too. And the poll is posted there. If you're watching, the RSS feed link is in the descriptions down below if you'd rather just listen to us. And you can also head over to Patreon and vote there. You don't have to be a Patreon supporter. The poll is public. But if you are over there and you want to throw a little support and, be part of the live stream, I don't know why I'm still talking as Chucky. And nominate,
Why do you ever?
I don't know. He just, whenever he decides to come out,
Yeah, I know. Believe me.
Go.
I know.
Why the fuck aren't you supporting on Patreon? I feel like I couldn't say that as Zack, but I can say it as Chucky.
100%.
Get your ass over to the Patreon right now and sign up. And you can join the live streams. And nominate the movie of your choosing, which will then be voted on. But yeah,
Which will then be voted on. You're still,
voted on.
It's like you're kicking dirt. I love it.
Yeah.
Throwing a little fit.
Eddie, where can they follow you?
Well, Chucky, I'm on Instagram and Letterboxd mainly these days. Edward is truth, one word, traditional spelling. I'm too tired to do Tiffany's voice, so I'm going to throw it back to you. Where can they find you, Chucky?
Main YouTube channel, Zack Cherry, Zack space Cherry.
Yeah.
Instagram is Retro Bitch Face. Letterboxd is Retro Bitch Face. Twitter is Zack Cherry 8. We're not here next week. It's an off week next week, but we're coming back for the first week of, what is it, August?
Yeah.
And what are we covering?
That movie that's out now.
Yeah, we're covering that movie that's out right now. So make sure that you check back with us, and there's absolutely nothing else that we need to say right now.
Is it just the same title? They did it again, didn't they? I know what you did last summer.
I know what you did last summer. Just
that new one, the new
same
one.
2020. It's I know what you did last summer 4.
So IKWYDLS 2025.
They should have just called it the I know what you did last summer.
Or okay, we had I know, I still know, I'll always know. Even still, I continue to know. That's what it should have been.
Like
could have been
said,
ES.
It should have either just been I still know, or like no, it should have been I know what you did, or just call it last summer. Last summer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Or I know what you did 25 summers ago. Something like that. Or what's the year? How many years has it been?
27 years.
Okay, I know what you did 27 years ago.
I know what you did
27 summers ago. 27 summers ago.
27. But it's a new crop of kids, so
it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It should not be.
But it is. But it is, and we're gonna talk about that. Not next week, but the week after when we get back.
Yeah, watch a classic episode. What's your favorite classic episode or an episode you haven't seen yet?
Well, I mean, we just did. I'll always know what you did last summer. It's always fun when we like shit on a movie because we did that quite a bit. But you can go back and you can get prepped. You can, or if you've already heard them, listen to them again. We did the episodes for I know, I still know, and I'll always know. Now I don't know. I'm just getting really yeah.
All right. You're so aggressive, Chucky.
Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we will be right back.